Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Now the adventures of Superman. Our scene is the broad rolling lawn in the shadow of the marble-pillared state capitol. Almost 1,000 GIs, most of them battle-scarred veterans of the European and Pacific invasions, have gathered on the lawn in a meeting of protest. As we join them now, they are cheering the remarks of one of their number who is addressing them from the base of a statue of Thomas Jefferson, creator of the Bill of Rights. The speaker is Joe Martin, brother of Beanie, the Daily Planet copyboy, and a hero of the Okinawa invasion.
Did they ask us what church we went to when they sent us up the beach at Anzio? Or at Normandy? Or at Iwo Jima? Did it make any difference whether we were black, white, green, or purple when a machine gun slug came out of nowhere and ripped us apart? But now, evidently, it does make a difference. Now that it's all over and the blood has been soaked into the ground and the dead have been buried, and those of us who were lucky enough to come back here are looking for honest, decent work, it does make a difference. It makes a difference to the man sitting behind those bronze doors. The man who calls himself the governor of this state. The Honorable Frank C. Wheeler. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to stand by and let Wheeler discriminate against us because we happen to be Catholics, Jews, or Baptists? There are hundreds of state jobs open. Jobs that are supposed to go to veterans. Jobs that were promised to us. I know that some of us are getting those jobs. But only if we worship God the way Frank Wheeler and his gangsters want us to worship. You see this statue? It's a statue of Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights says that every American can worship God as he sees fit. And that nobody, not even the Congress of the United States, can tell that man how to worship. But Governor Wheeler evidently thinks he's bigger than the Bill of Rights. He thinks he's bigger than the Congress of these United States. He wants to tell us how to worship, and if we don't do it his way, we suffer for it. I say there's only one way to handle this situation. I say we march on the state capitol, knock those big bronze doors over, and demand the two things that you'll find written on the state flag flying over the capitol. Liberty and equality! And I say let's do it now!
Just a minute, fellas! Just a minute, please! Please! Hey, Joe, do you mind if I say a few words?
No, go ahead, Sam.
Thanks. Quiet, just a minute, fellas. Now, most of you know me, but in case some of you don't, my name is Sam Robbins.
Hey, Sam!
Joe Martin and I were in the same outfit. We've been friends in Metropolis for almost 20 years. And while I agree with everything Joe said here today, I don't agree with his suggestion that we storm the state capitol. Just a minute. Give me a chance to explain, will you? I don't like prejudice and discrimination any more than you do. In fact, I like it less because I've had more of it. But we're not going to get anywhere with violence. And if we storm the capitol, somebody's going to get hurt. What we need is the public on our side. We got to appeal to the citizens who elected Governor Wheeler.
That takes so much time. We want jobs.
All right, Sam. We can't afford to wait.
Okay, but I'm afraid of trouble.
Don't worry. We won't start any trouble.
All right, fellas! Fall in ranks and march to the Capitol steps!
Mr. Governor.
Yes, Briggs, what is it?
Sorry to interrupt, sir, but the veterans who were meeting on the lawn are marching toward the Capitol.
Call the state police barracks. Tell them I want a squad of men over here immediately.
Yes, sir.
All right, George. You got me into this. Now get me out.
Take it easy, Frank. Nothing to get excited about.
1,000 raving maniacs is plenty to get excited about. What do I do with them? What do I tell them?
You're governor of the state, aren't you?
In name only, and you know it. So does everyone else. It's no secret that big George Latimer runs the works.
Don't lose your head, Frank. That's what they want you to do.
I know, but you've got to get me out of this hole. Those GIs are sore because we've kept certain people out of state jobs.
We've kept foreigners out, Frank. Foreigners.
But they're citizens, taxpayers. They fought in the army.
In my book and in your book, too, they're still foreigners. They're not like us, are they?
Well,
Are they?
No, I guess not.
That's all you've got to say, Frank. We've got to keep repeating their foreigners. That they're trying to undermine America. Trying to sell us out.
Well, that was the Hitler line.
Not a bad line, was it?
No, but look what happened to Hitler.
It won't happen to us. Believe me.
Yes?
They're on the steps, sir. They want you to come out.
Who's on the steps?
The GIs, who do you think? All right, Briggs, we'll take care of it.
Yes, Mr. Latimer.
Briggs,
Yes, sir.
when the state police get here, tell them to line up in front of the doors.
Yes, Mr. Latimer.
Oh, I don't like the smell of this. I don't like it one bit.
Don't worry. Relax. I found something to hang our hats on.
I don't understand.
Kid named Martin, Joe Martin. The spark plug of the mob. We can't touch him. But his best friend is a Jew, a bird named Robbins. He's the one we'll pin it on. We'll say he's responsible for the whole business.
Is he?
I just finished telling you, Joe Martin was. But we'll hang it on Robbins. Could even call him a red. That always goes over big.
Oh, I'm afraid of this. You can't fool around with those veterans, George. They don't knuckle under.
They'll knuckle under to me, or I'll know the reason why.
Oh, now what? Yes. Oh, what is it, Briggs?
The state police are here, sir. Sergeant Adams would like to see you.
Yeah, I'll send him in.
This way, Sergeant. Sergeant Adams, state police reporting, sir.
Glad to know you, Sergeant. Are your men lined up in front of the Capitol doors?
Yes, sir. But that's what I want to talk to you about. They don't like the idea of pointing Tommy guns at ex-GIs. I've got 10 men, and 6 of them were GIs themselves.
Well, it seems
Just a minute,
to me
Governor, if you don't mind.
Oh, no, not at all.
Thanks. My name is George Latimer, Sergeant. You may have heard of me.
Yes, of course, sir.
Good. Now, tell me. Members of the state police are by law pledged to protect public property, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And public life as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all the governor's asking you to do. Protect the state capitol building and his life. Now, if you'll see that your men are lined up in front of the doors, the governor will go out and talk to the GIs.
Yes, sir.
All right, Frank, let's go.
Oh, I don't think I'd better go out there now.
Now, you've got to show your face.
Yeah, but they're screaming for blood.
They'll get blood. But it won't be yours. Come on.
What does Big George Latimer, crooked political boss of the state, mean? We'll know in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Say, gang, did you ever see a person trying Kellogg's Pep for the first time? Well, here's what's likely to happen. He starts looking pleased just as soon as he sees those crisp, light, cheery flakes of whole wheat in his breakfast bowl. But wait till he digs his spoon in and samples Pep's flavor. Now you'll see his smile break out in earnest. He takes another spoonful and another. Can't quite believe all that catchy, super delicious flavor is real. Well, it's real, all right. It's terrific. And you can see the pleasure written all over his happy face. And you know, a swell thing about Pep is that every time you eat it, it teases and pleases your taste just that way. Just as you get a happy surprise every time you open your package of Kellogg's Pep for the prize inside. 3 different kinds of prizes you can get, and each one a honey. For instance, you'll get either a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 in the great Pep Air Fleet, or you'll get one of 24 beautiful color pictures of birds with a description so you can identify these birds anywhere. Or else, you'll get a bright-colored comic button picturing one of 18 comic strip characters to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. So start collecting all 3 kinds of prizes in Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal.
Led by young Joe Martin, hero of the Okinawa invasion, more than 1,000 veterans of World War II are massed in front of the state capitol, demanding an audience with Frank Wheeler, the governor. An unwilling detail of state policemen armed with Tommy guns is lined up on the Capitol steps as the governor, accompanied by Big George Latimer, political boss of the state, steps out to face the veterans and is greeted by a chorus of boos and hisses. Joe Martin, at the head of the veteran group, raises his hands and silences the angry men behind him. Then he speaks.
Governor Wheeler, my name is Joe Martin. I'm speaking for the Army and Navy veterans you see here before you. We demand to know why racial and religious prejudice is being practiced in awarding state jobs to returned GIs.
Tell them there is no prejudice.
Mr. Martin and gentlemen, I assure you there is no prejudice.
That's a lie. I'm sorry to have to contradict you, Governor, but jobs are being asked their church affiliation. And if it isn't the right church, they don't get those jobs. And that goes for Negroes, too.
Give them the far in the line. Americans first.
It may be true, Mr. Martin, that we are being very careful in our selection of state employees. That is, we are trying to avoid hiring foreigners whose only aim is to undermine the government. This is America, and we should think of Americans first.
What do you think I am?
How about me? I'm no fighter. They're coming up the steps. Sergeant, fire them. Keep them back.
Led by young Joe Martin, a hero of the Okinawa invasion, and brother of Beanie, the Daily Planet copy boy, 1,000 returned veterans staged a mass meeting on the steps of the state capitol. A meeting of protest against racial and religious discrimination in the awarding of state jobs. Demanding an explanation from Governor Wheeler, the ex-GIs were told there was no discrimination. Angry and indignant, the men swarmed up the Capitol steps. In a moment of fear and panic, the governor lost his head and ordered a squad of state troopers armed with Tommy guns to fire into the crowd. Shots rang out. As we continue now, our scene is the editorial office of the Daily Planet. Beanie Martin, in response to the ringing of a bell, has stepped into the teletype room to get the news clip being fed out of one of the machines. He stands by idly as the keys automatically print the news report in bright purple ink. Suddenly he stiffens, and the color drains from his cheeks. His eyes race over the glaring lines of type. Mouth agape, he reaches out and rips the long sheet of paper out of the machine just as the clatter of the keys stops. Then, turning, he races through the city room looking for Clark Kent.
Mr. Kent! Mr. Kent!
How many times have I told you not to barge into this office without knocking?
Yes, sir, but this is important. Mr. Kent!
Get out of here! Get out!
Hold
before
it, Chief. Hold it. What's the matter, Beanie? You're pale as a ghost.
Be a ghost unless he gets out of here.
Please, Mr. White.
Come in, Beanie. Come in and close the door. Now, what's the trouble?
My brother. It's about my brother.
Your brother Joe?
Yes.
Oh, what about him? What
Chief,
about him?
please, can't you see the boy's upset?
Here, look at this teletype clip.
Nobody gives a hoot when I'm upset.
Great Scott.
What is it, Kent?
Listen to this. A returned veteran, hero of Okinawa invasion, was seriously wounded today when, at the order of Governor Wheeler, a detachment of state policemen fired into a group of ex-GIs staging a protest meeting on the steps of the state capitol.
I don't believe it. Even Wheeler, as rotten as he is,
Wait a
wouldn't
minute,
do it.
there's more. The wounded man is Joe Martin of 1040 Wilton Drive.
My brother.
Said to be the leader of the veteran group organized to protest against racial and religious discrimination in the awarding of state jobs. Immediately following the incident, Martin was removed to the Metropolis Hospital, where he's been placed on the danger list.
Oh, there, Beanie. I'm sorry I shouted at you, but don't cry now. We'll take care of everything. Now, Kent, you get on this thing immediately. Get all the facts.
Well, now, look,
if Wheeler's responsible for this, I'll have him impeached.
Yes, but wait.
I'll ruin him for life.
Wait a minute. In the first place, I can't quite believe that the state police would fire into a group of veterans. In the second place, I'm going to the hospital to see about Beanie's brother. Assign someone else to the story. Give it to Lois.
Oh, where is she?
Probably in her office. Beanie, you locate Jimmy Olsen and get him to go home with you.
Yes, sir.
And don't you worry about your brother. Now, everything possible will be done for him. See you later, Chief. But, Doctor, I've got to see him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kent. We've just done an emergency operation on him to remove the bullet from his chest. He's in a coma. No one can see him.
But, Doctor, you see...
I think there's a friend of his sitting in the waiting room. Perhaps he can help you. Oh, here he comes now.
Oh.
Any change, Doctor?
No change. Well, I'll have to leave you now. Sorry.
Thanks, Doctor.
Quite well.
I understand you're a friend of Joe Martin's.
I've known him almost all my life. We were kids together. We went to school together and fought the war together. Now this has to happen.
Yeah, I know. My name is Clark Kent. I'm with the Daily Planet. Joe's brother Beanie works for us.
Oh, that's right. Joe's mentioned you lots of times. I'm Sam Robbins. Glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you, Sam. Tell me, were you at the state capitol when this thing happened?
I was there all right, but it didn't do much good.
No.
I tried to tell the boys someone was going to get hurt, but they wouldn't listen.
Did the state police actually fire at them?
I hate to have to say this, Mr. Kent, but I'm afraid they did.
Did they?
They had Tommy guns. Our bunch was sore, and they started up the steps to where the governor and some of his stooges were standing.
Uh-huh.
I heard him yell to the troopers to fire. The next thing I knew, the Tommy guns were blazing away, and Joe was right next to me, crumpled up and dropped.
Was anyone else hit?
No, just Joe, the one guy who didn't have it coming to him.
Huh.
The guy who just the same was fighting for the Jews, the Catholics, and all the rest of the people who get pushed around.
Doesn't make sense, Sam.
You're telling me. Gee, I remember thinking when we were crawling up one of those Jap island beaches with slugs whistling around us and knocking off one guy out of three that, well, maybe after this war was over, we'd wake up to the fact that when the chips are down, it doesn't matter what prayer book you read out of or what color your face is. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I guess I was all cockeyed.
No, I think a lot of people did wake up, Sam, but that's not what I was thinking of when I said it didn't make sense. I was thinking that if the state police fired into the crowd, how come only Joe was hit? Particularly with Tommy guns.
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to find out. You'll be around here for a while yet, won't you, Sam?
I'll be around until they tell me Joe's going to pull through, if it takes a week.
Okay, I'm going over to state police headquarters. I'll be back in a few minutes.
A few minutes?
Mm-hmm.
But it's 20 miles from here. What are you, Superman?
Sometimes, Sam. See you later. Will you please repeat that for me, Sergeant?
Sure. After I went in and told the governor my men didn't like the idea of pointing guns at ex-GIs because most of them were in the Army themselves, and after Latimer, well, he was in the governor's office.
Big George Latimer?
Yeah, that's right. You know, I don't understand it. I cross-examined each one of my men. They all swear they fired way over the heads of the crowd.
Hey, wait a minute, Sergeant. Wait a minute. I just thought of something. You've got a ballistics expert here, haven't you?
I'm the ballistics man.
You? Oh, good. You're coming back to the hospital with me as fast as we can get there. Come on. Are you sure, Doctor, that this is the bullet removed from Joe Martin's chest?
Positive, Mr. Kent. It lodged just beneath the heart.
All right, Sergeant, here it is. Can you tell from what kind of a gun it was fired?
Let's see. Yes. .32 automatic.
No doubt about that?
No doubt at all. It could never have been shot out of a Tommy gun. That, of course, clears my men.
Wait a minute. The state police carry sidearms, don't they?
Yes, but they're .44 caliber police specials. They're revolvers, not automatics. And this bullet came from an automatic.
Weighing the twisted lead bullet in his hand, Sergeant Adams of the state police makes a positive statement. A statement that opens a new trail for Superman. But in a moment, even the Man of Steel will be faced by the shock of his life. So stand by for the startling climax of today's episode.
Say, gang, isn't it swell just to see a dish of Kellogg's Pep at your place at the breakfast table? Pep looks so crisp and light and golden that, well, you can hardly wait to pitch in. And believe you me, a bowl of Pep tastes just as good as it looks. Those cool, crunchy whole wheat flakes are crammed with Pep's special kind of teasing, pleasing, catchy flavor. Yes, sir, when it comes to brightening up breakfast, Pep's a terrific hit. And say, Pep's terrific, too, when it comes to swell prizes. 3 different kinds of prizes, one or the other in every Pep package. Makes each prize seem 3 times as exciting because, well, you never know which you'll get next. For instance, you might find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, and you'd be smart to collect all 7 model planes in the series. Or you might find one of Pep's 24 full-color bird pictures with a description to help you know these birds every time. Or you might find a bright-colored comic button picturing one of 18 different comic strip characters to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. So get in on the fun, gang. Ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal.
In the waiting room at the Metropolis Hospital, Sergeant Adams, ballistics expert of the state police, in the presence of Clark Kent and Sam Robbins, has made an amazing statement that the bullet that plowed its way into Joe Martin's chest was fired from a .32 automatic, not from a Tommy gun. For a moment, even Kent is amazed. Then...
You're sure about that, Sergeant?
I'm positive.
You mean someone else fired the shot at Joe? It wasn't one of the cops?
But it looks like, Sam.
But who did it?
Well, from now on, our job is to find out.
Well, all I know is I'm going to...
Hold it. Here comes Big George Latimer.
Excuse me. The nurse at the desk said some friends of Joe Martin were in here. My name's George Latimer.
I'm a friend of Joe's.
Oh, that's fine, son. What's your name?
Robbins. Sam Robbins.
Oh, really? I know you, Sergeant. Adams, right?
That's right.
And this gentleman?
Kent.
Daily Planet.
Oh, yes. I've heard of you, Kent. Star reporter. Great paper, the Planet. Even though it fights me, but that doesn't mean anything, of course. Big George Latimer loves a fight.
We can't see anything to laugh about, Mr. Latimer. Joe Martin is pretty close to dying in one of these rooms.
Yes, that's why I'm here. Governor Wheeler asked me to come down and see what I could do for young Martin.
Oh?
At the same time, to correct the impression some people seem to have that Martin was wounded by the state police.
Wasn't he?
No, Kent, he wasn't.
Well, what did happen? Who shot Martin?
Well, I was standing on the top step of the Capitol with the governor when the crowd of veterans got a little too excited and started up the steps. I saw one of them pull a gun. Then the governor, certain he was about to be attacked, gave the order to fire. Naturally, one couldn't hear a pistol shot with Tommy guns blazing.
Are you trying to tell us that one of the veterans shot Joe Martin?
Yes, Kent, I am. It's an old trick, and it was pulled this time to make the governor and the state police look bad.
You think you could identify the man you saw pull the gun?
Yes. And I don't have to go far. There he is, standing right next to you.
What?
His name is Sam Robbins.
What did you say?
I said, Joe, the man I saw pull a gun.
Why, you dirty rat! Get him off me!
Come on.
Kill me!
Bring it. Let me at him.
All right, Sam, that's enough. He's a lying rat. Let me at him, will you?
Now fight, Sam.
Take it easy, fella. Sure, take it easy. Take it easy.
Hold it.
That's what I've been doing all my life, taking it easy, turning the other cheek so rats like him can fight it.
All right, Sam. Sergeant, take him out to your car. Wait there for me.
Let's go, fella. Now, wait a minute. He said I shot
Sam,
Joe.
go with
I didn't say anything of the
You
sort.
heard? You guys heard
This is a hospital, Sam. Control yourself. All right, take him out to the car, Sergeant.
Come on, fellow, on your way. I'm not finished with him yet. Remember that.
You all right, Mr. Latimer?
Oh, yes. Yes, thanks to you. I certainly never expected anything like that. Of course, it's understandable. Many of those boys are still suffering from battle fatigue.
That wasn't battle fatigue. You accused him of shooting his best friend.
Oh, no, Kent. I simply said he was the man I saw with a gun. I said nothing about shooting.
How sure are you he was the man?
Well, sure as I can be under the circumstances. There was a great deal of excitement at the time.
Well, then you're not positive.
I wouldn't want to swear it under oath if a man's life were at stake. However,
Yes?
I don't want you to misunderstand. But I can see the possibility of a situation wherein Robbins could have fired a shot at Joe Martin.
You mean accidentally?
Well, no, not quite.
Well, I'm afraid I don't understand.
I admit it's a little difficult unless you know the background. Mind you, this is just a supposition on my part. Just a passing thought that I can't possibly prove. And I wouldn't want to if I could. But look at it this way. A mob of war veterans is crowding up the Capitol steps. The governor, in a moment of understandable panic, orders the state troopers to fire. Wisely, they fire over the heads of the crowd. But Robbins, taking advantage of the confusion and the deafening noise of the Tommy gun, fires a shot at Joe Martin, certain that the blame will be leveled at Governor Wheeler and the state police.
Do you realize what you're saying, Mr. Latimer?
I pointed out, Kent, that this was all just a guess. However, men like Robbins sometimes lose their heads, as you saw just a few minutes ago. They don't think straight.
And you believe Robbins would commit murder? Joe Martin may die, remember, in order to discredit the governor and the state police?
It's been done before by men like Robbins.
Keep repeating the phrase men like Robbins. What do you mean by that?
Well, men who don't quite go along with the American way of life. You know, men with foreign background.
Oh. What's your background, Mr. Latimer?
My background?
Yes.
I'm an American. My father was born here.
See, what about your grandfather?
Well, he was born in England. But,
Oh, then you have a foreign background, too.
Oh, now, don't twist it around, Kent. You know what I mean.
Yes, I'm afraid I do. You mean that because Robbins doesn't belong to your church, he's a potential murderer?
I never said that. Look, Kent, I suggest we drop the entire matter. I came here at the governor's request to see what I could do for the boy who was shot. As far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to forget the incident ever took place.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not. Because it's obvious there's more to this than appears on the surface. Right now, I've got to go out and have a talk with Robbins, but I'll be seeing you again, Mr. Latimer. Perhaps very soon. Now, here's the setup, Sam. Latimer says he saw you pull a gun, but he wouldn't swear to it on the stand.
That's white of him, dirty.
Now, look, wait a minute. Sam, don't lose your head.
I'd gouge my head with a knife in my back.
Now, in the first place, there isn't it. Uh-oh. Hold everything. This bird coming over to the car is the police reporter for the Daily Clarion.
Hi, Sergeant. Hello, Williams. Oh, hello, Kent. Fancy meeting you here.
Hello, Williams.
What's the dope on the GI shooting?
There isn't any.
Come on. Don't give me that. What's the lowdown?
Told you there isn't any.
Who is this guy?
Friend of mine.
You always entertain your friends in the back seat of a state police car?
Uh-huh. When I feel like it, I do.
He looks like he's in trouble.
Why don't you print that in your paper?
Sam.
Sam Robbins looks like he's in trouble.
That's your name?
Look, Williams, this is a private conversation. Beat it, huh?
What's he afraid to talk
He's
for?
not
Who's afraid to talk?
Hold it, Sam.
He can't scare me.
Sam.
Let him print it in his lousy paper. Let him say that Latimer accused me of shooting Joe Martin.
Big George Latimer?
Sam.
Yeah, Big George, Big Rat. Put that in your paper.
Where do you live, Sam?
210 Carson Avenue, and I'm out of a job because Latimer doesn't think I'm an American. Put that in, too.
Okay, pal, thanks.
It was a big mistake, Sam.
What have I got to lose?
What have you... Okay, forget it. Now, look, tell me. You remember who was on either side of you when the crowd started up the Capitol steps?
Yeah. Joe was on my right, and Eddie Kane... Yeah, Eddie was on my left, and Bob Smo was behind me.
All right, where can I find Kane and Sloan?
They're at the Legion Post on 12th Street with the rest of the boys.
Oh?
They all wanted to come to the hospital, but I told them to wait at the post.
Okay. Where are you going now?
I'm sticking around here until I get some news about Joe.
Yeah, well, look, Sam, Latimer may still be in the hospital. Promise me you won't tangle with him.
I promise.
Good boy.
But it won't be easy.
I know. I'll be back after I talk to Kane and Sloan. What about you, Sergeant?
I want to take this bullet back to the barracks and make sure I was right about it coming out of an automatic.
Good idea. Okay, I'll run along then. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot something. In view of what's happened, Sergeant, you may not want to let Robbins out of your custody.
There's no reason for holding him. We've got no case yet.
That's right, you haven't. But you may have before I'm through. A very important case.
We'll return in a moment to join Clark Kent as he follows a trail that may lead to murder. So stand by. Say, gang, do you know that you can collect not just one swell prize, but 49 different top-notch prizes right in packages of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal? Why, sure. You'll find a prize in every package, and there are 3 different kinds of prizes you may find there. For instance, you may find one of 18 different comic strip buttons, each picturing a famous comic strip character. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 exciting plane models in the series. Or you may get a beautiful full-color bird picture from a series of 24, each with a description to help you identify these birds in the air. Now, that makes 49 different prizes you can collect. And that's only a part of the fun in Kellogg's Pep. Think of the good eating fun in those crisp whole wheat flakes, all crammed with cool, catchy flavor. I mean, Pep's delicious, a prize in itself. Yes, sir, a dish of Pep is so strictly terrific that in double quick time, you've polished off every last bit in your bowl. And that's the right angle, gang, especially nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. So remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Hurrying to the American Legion post on 12th Street, Superman, in the guise of Clark Kent, reporter, located Eddie Kane and Bob Sloan. And as we join him now, he is alone with the 2 veterans in a small room where he has been questioning them for almost an hour.
All right, then, fellas, it all boils down to this. You're both ready to swear on a stack of Bibles that Sam Robbins had no gun in his hand, and since he had no gun, could not have fired the shot that wounded Joe Martin.
I'll swear it on 2 stacks.
That goes for me, too.
Good.
I'll even lay money that Sammy never owned a gun. Remember, Bob, when we had a chance to bring a load of them Jap pistols back for souvenirs, and Sam was the guy that talked us out of it on account of he said it was dangerous keeping stuff like that around the house, remember?
Sure. Who said he had a gun?
Well, for the 10th time, I can't tell you. What difference does it make?
The difference is I'd like to bust the guy one in the beak.
I know. Well, you may get that chance, but not now. All I'm trying to do now is clear Sam's skirts.
What about Joe Martin? He'll tell you.
Joe's in a coma, and he may not pull through.
If he don't, there'll be trouble. We got 1,000 guys who did a lot of killing in the last 4 years. If we have to, we'll do a little more. Joe better pull through.
Everything possible is being done for him.
Is Sam still at the hospital?
Yes, he is. He'll call you if anything breaks. Now, look, fellas, in the meantime, keep everything under your hat, huh? Don't discuss this with anyone.
Okay, Mr. Kent. Thanks for working on it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Not at all. Glad to do it.
Yeah, who is it?
Eddie, I got something to show you.
What?
Here, look at this. I heard a kid yelling extra, and I went out and bought one. It's the Clarion.
Holy cat.
What is it? Look. Gun found in veteran's home. The .32 automatic reportedly responsible for the bullet that may cost the life of Joe Martin, hero of Okinawa, was today found in a bureau drawer in the home of Sam Robbins, also an ex-GI and supposedly Martin's close friend. Great Scott!
Mr. Kent, what does that mean? How?
I don't know, Eddie. I honestly don't know. This story in the Daily Clarion, Sergeant, is it true?
It's true, all right, Kent. We found a .32 automatic in Sam Robbins' house. It was in his bureau drawer.
But that
I'm going
prove...
to put the Robbins gun through a ballistics test. That'll show whether or not his gun fired the slug taken from Joe Martin's body.
Oh, I see.
Want to come along?
Sure, you bet I do.
Okay, come down with me to the basement, the shooting range. You see, Kent, every gun barrel puts its own trademark on the bullets it fires. Certain little whorls and markings on the metal, which you can't see with the naked eye, are put there by the rifling of the barrel.
Yes, I know about that, Sergeant.
Okay, then. Now, I'm going to fire this gun we found in Robbins' house into this box. It's filled with padding and tightly packed sawdust, so the bullet won't flatten or take on any new markings. Then I'll compare it with the slug they removed from Joe Martin's body.
I told you I know about that, Sergeant. Go ahead with the test.
Okay, here goes. There. Now, I'll get the slug and we'll take it up to the laboratory for comparison. We'll just put this bullet under the microscope, Kent, alongside the one that came out of Joe Martin's body, and I'll tell you in a moment. There we are.
There we are. What?
Just a minute. Now the last quartering. There.
Well, Sergeant?
That's it, Kent.
That's what? What's the answer?
The slug I fired into the box and the one taken from Joe Martin's body. They match.
They do?
That's right. The gun we found in Robbins' house fired both shots. Let's go.
Now, wait a minute. Go where?
I'm going to get a warrant for Sam Robbins' arrest on a charge of assault with intent to kill. And if Joe Martin dies, Robbins will be held for murder.
1 hour later, Clark Kent is admitted to a temporary detention cell at State Troopers' headquarters, where Sam Robbins shakes his head dazedly as he says,
Can't understand it, Mr. Kent. I never owned a .32 automatic or any other kind of a gun. So how could the state troopers find that gun in my room?
I don't know, but they did find it. Look, Sam, do any other members of your family own guns?
No, there's just my mother and my kid brother and sister. What would they want with a gun? Listen, Mr. Kent.
What?
If the troopers found that automatic in my bureau drawer like they say, and somebody planted it there to frame me.
Now, wait,
somebody
Sam.
wanted to make me out as the guy who shot Joe Martin. Ha! Me shoot Joe. Can you imagine that? But Joe's my pal. We grew up together. We fought the war together. Why, we've always been just like brothers.
I know, Sam, I know.
Now somebody wants the police to think I shot him. Look, Mr. Kent, you don't think that, do you?
No, I don't, Sam.
Thanks. And my buddies, the ones you talk with, they don't think I shot Joe, do they?
Of course not. As a matter of fact, when they heard that Big George Latimer said he saw you pull an automatic on the Capitol steps, they wanted to take him apart.
Latimer's a liar. I told him so once, and I'll tell him so again. I'll tell it to anybody.
Easy, Sam. Wait a minute. He said he might be mistaken.
Yeah, he said. He didn't act like he was.
Oh, but why would he... Hey, I wonder.
What?
Oh, just a wild idea I had for a moment. Look, let's try this from a different angle, Sam, huh? Have you any idea why anyone would want to shoot Joe? Does he have any enemies?
Joe Martin?
Yes.
No, everybody was always crazy about him. He was one of the most popular guys in the Army.
Well, then why?
Yeah, why? I've been knocking myself out trying to figure that one. I can't come up with an answer.
We've got to find the answer, Sam. When we do, we'll be able to find the person who shot Joe Martin. Now, look, I've got to leave now, but don't be discouraged. The police have some fairly strong circumstantial evidence against you, but there are one or two big holes in it. And if
Mr. Kent.
Is that you, Jim?
Yeah, I called the office in the hospital, and they said you were here. I rushed right over.
Oh, what's up?
Well, you're here. Oh, hello, Sam.
Hi, Jim. How's Joe?
Oh, he's about the same. He's still in a coma. Nobody can see him.
Oh, poor Joe.
You fellas didn't see the latest edition of the Clarion yet, did you?
Clarion? No. What are they saying now?
Here, I'll pass it through the bar. See for yourself.
Let me see.
Uh-oh. Sam Robbins condemned by mother.
What? Condemned by my mother? What does that mean?
Just a minute. Mrs. Louis Robbins, mother of Samuel Robbins, who was arrested today charged with shooting Joe Martin, a GI veteran, admitted that her son appeared at their home a short time after the shooting at the state capitol building.
What? Oh, wait, Sam. Go on, Mr. Kent.
Mrs. Robbins stated that her son seemed to be under great emotional stress. He raced up to his room, and Mrs. Robbins says she heard a bureau drawer being opened. A moment later, Sam rushed down the stairs and out of the house, calling to his mother that he was going to the hospital. As readers of the Clarion know, it was in Sam Robbins' bureau drawer that state troopers later found the .32 automatic, with which Joe Martin had been shot. And it is to be assumed that Robbins returned to his home to hide the telltale weapon.
What?
Then raced to the hospital to appear in a sympathetic role.
Why, but
Just
dirty...
a moment, Sam. Wait a minute. Is this story true? I mean, about your returning to your home before you went to the hospital?
Well, sure. I had a few $100s in my bureau drawer that I'd saved in the Army, and I wanted to take it to the hospital to make sure that Joe got a private room and the best doctors money could buy.
Oh, well, didn't the Clarion ask you about that before they printed the story?
No.
Jeepers.
Clarion's a sensation sheet, Jim. They're more interested in headlines than facts.
But gee whiz, they're practically condemning Sam before the case even goes to trial.
Well, that's the way the Clarion does business.
Oh, dirty business, if you ask me.
Yes, but that's beside the point right now. This is bad, very bad. Sam's mother admitting he rushed into the house after the shooting and went up to his room before he left for the hospital.
Mom didn't know she was making it tough for me.
Of course she didn't, but...
Anyhow, she had to tell the truth.
But the Clarion twisted the truth. They make it seem
We're
like...
wasting time. The cards are stacked against Sam now, and unless we get to the bottom of this very quickly...
How are we going to do that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
There's one way.
There is?
What's that, Mr. Kent?
And there's no time to talk about it now. Keep your chin up, Sam. Jim, get Hogan and let me out of here. We're going places.
Followed by Jimmy Olsen, Clark Kent hurries from Sam Robbins' cell. What is Kent's plan? We'll return in a moment to find out and to hear the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, when you're collecting those swell pep prizes, whether it's the model planes or the bird pictures or the comic buttons, does it sometimes happen that the prize you get in your package of Kellogg's Pep is a duplicate of one that you already have? I mean, for instance, do you have 2 Curtiss Helldiver model planes when you're trying to collect Pep's 7 different model planes? Well, you know, it's fun to swap duplicates with the gang. Sure, maybe you'll trade your duplicate plane for a full-color bird picture to help complete your collection of bird pictures in Pep's new series. Or maybe you'll trade your duplicate plane for a bright-colored comic button picturing characters straight out of the funnies, like Orphan Annie or Moon Mullins or Superman himself. Swapping duplicates that way, you can easily collect the 49 different prizes in Pep's 3 current series. And while you're collecting them, just think of the prize-winning eating you can put in when you sit down to breakfast and spoon up those crisp, cool flakes of good whole wheat. Think of the keen, catchy flavor, that light, fresh sunshine flavor, that terrific Pep flavor. Yes, sir, a bowl of Pep is strictly on the beam. So ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, and remember to look for your prize inside the package.
Leaving State Police Headquarters, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen took a taxi to the Metropolis Hospital. As we join them now, they're walking through the 3rd-floor corridor toward Joe Martin's room.
You see, Jim, Sam was standing right next to Joe Martin when Joe was shot. So Joe should be able to tell us whether Sam shot him or not.
Well, of course Sam didn't shoot him, but how's Joe going to tell us? He's in a coma.
I said this was only a chance. I'm hoping Joe comes out of his coma, and I want to be here when he... Uh-oh, here comes Dr. Mitchell now. Dr. Mitchell.
Oh, Kent, I was just going to call you.
Oh?
Do you know where I can get hold of Sam Robbins?
He's in jail.
In jail?
Yeah, the state
Just
troopers...
a moment, Jim. Why do you want Sam, Doctor?
Joe Martin is asking for him.
And Joe's out of his coma? Can we see him?
By no means. He's in a very critical condition. But for the last half hour, he's been asking constantly for Sam Robbins. I believe he thinks something happened to Robbins, and at this stage, anxiety is very bad for him.
I see.
He's approaching a crisis now, and while I can't go so far as to say Robbins' presence will save his life...
But it might. Is that it, Doctor?
Yes. But you say Robbins is in jail. That makes it very difficult. I wonder, there isn't much time. Do you suppose if I called the police and explained...
Well, they wouldn't let Sam out. They think he shot Joe.
What?
Yes, as you say, this makes it very difficult, Doctor. Very difficult. Unless
you what, Mr. Kent?
Unless I break the law.
Puzzled, Jimmy Olsen and Dr. Mitchell stare at Clark Kent, whose knitted brow gives evidence of the struggle taking place within him. In his mind, as if 2 attorneys were arrayed against each other, he hears himself argue as Superman and as Clark Kent.
I'm Superman. I can easily bend the bars of Sam Robbins' cell and bring him to the hospital. But that would be breaking the laws of your country. And Superman fights to uphold law and order. But a man's life is at stake. 2 men's lives. If Joe dies, Sam Robbins will die, too. In the electric chair. Only Joe may be able to save his life. True. Nevertheless, you have no right to take the law into your own hands. You know that. Yes, yes, I know. What'll I do? What will I do?
I never asked a favor before, Sergeant, but I'm asking one now in the name of justice and humanity. Parole Sam Robbins in my custody for 1 hour. I'll promise to bring him back.
I can't do it, Superman. We're holding Robbins on an assault warrant. And if Joe Martin dies, Robbins will be held for murder.
You'll be holding an innocent man.
I don't think you know the details of this case.
I know all about it.
And you still think he's innocent?
I'm sure he is. And if you let me take him to the hospital now, I may be able to prove it.
How?
Joe Martin is partially out of his coma, and he's been calling for Sam. The doctor thinks Sam's presence might pull him through the crisis.
Well, if you put it that way.
That's the way it is. Besides, I promised to bring Sam back here within 1 hour. And have you ever heard of Superman breaking his word?
Oh, no, of course not. You've been of tremendous help to the police.
Then what do you say?
Okay.
Good boy, Sergeant.
Come on down to the cell block with me.
Right.
Come on, Hogan. Get that cell door open.
There's something wrong with the lock, Sergeant. I've been meaning to report it, but... drat it. Key broke off in the lock.
Oh, great. Now what do we do? It'll be an hour before we can get a locksmith here.
Just my luck.
Relax, Sam. I'll have you out in a jiffy. Mind if I bend a couple of these bars, Sergeant? I'll bend them back as soon as Sam steps out.
Bend the bars?
Well, yes. Quite simple. See?
Leaping mackerel.
Break them iron bars like they was pudding.
Well, come on, Sam. Don't stand there with your mouth open. Move.
Sorry, that trick kind of floored me.
Me too.
Now I'll just bend these bars back like this.
Sakes alive, he did it again.
Okay, let's go, Sam. Leaving State Police Headquarters, Superman picks Sam Robbins up in his arms. Then, up, and away! Leaping high into the air, the Man of Steel rockets across the great city to the Metropolis Hospital, where he sets Sam Robbins down and disappears. A few minutes later, once more in his guise and garb of Clark Kent, he noiselessly enters the room where Joe Martin lies. His voice weak and babbling, Joe speaks to Sam Robbins, who sits at the bedside, tears streaming unashamedly down his cheeks. Dr. Mitchell motions for Kent to approach. A nurse stands by alertly.
You're here, aren't you, Sam? You're here, beside me.
Sure, Joe. Sure, I'm right here.
Those Japs and those mortars. I thought you were going to get it that time.
Those nips get me? What's the matter with you, Joe? You know they haven't got our numbers.
No, I guess not. I guess...
He thinks we're back on Iwo Jima. We got cut off there on the beach, just the two of us. And some Jap mortars had us spotted and were heaving them over. Joe got hit in the leg and he couldn't run, so I had to go in after those Japs. Well, it wasn't anything.
Oh, no?
No. Joe thought sure I got it, and that's...
Sam!
Yeah,
Sam.
Joe, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sleepy. I think I'll take a nap. You'll stick around, won't you?
Yeah, sure. You go to sleep, kid. I'll be right here.
Yeah. Oh.
Doctor! Doc! Joe's gone.
No, he's not. He's lost consciousness again, but as a matter of fact, his pulse is stronger than it was before.
Oh, you mean it, Doc? You're not kidding me.
Yes, I mean it. Your visit has helped him tremendously. I can't say for certain yet, but I really think he has a good chance to recover now.
Oh, that's wonderful, Doctor.
He better recover. He better. If he doesn't, I swear I'll get that guy who shot him. I swear I will if I have to come back from the grave to do it.
Easy, Sam, easy.
I'll have to ask you gentlemen to leave now. I'll take you through the door.
Okay. Come on, Sam.
I know, Mr. Kent. Back to jail.
Yes, but just for a little while.
Yeah, you hope.
As Clark Kent escorts Sam Robbins back to jail, then leaves to resume his search for the unknown person who shot Joe Martin, a much different scene is taking place in the governor's office at the state capitol building. There, immaculately groomed, a fresh pink carnation in his buttonhole, Big George Latimer, the state political boss, removes a cigar from his mouth and smiles at Governor Frank Wheeler.
What are you looking so worried about, Frank? Everything's going fine.
Fine? Are you kidding?
No, of course not.
Why, you must be. Have you forgotten that veterans demonstration here yesterday? Have you forgotten that one of the veterans, Joe Martin, was shot on the Capitol steps?
Of course I haven't forgotten. That's why I say everything's going fine.
I don't understand.
Look, the veterans are a nuisance because they want jobs. We don't want to give them any.
You mean you don't? You handle the patrons.
All right, I don't. Because those jobs are for the party boys. Fellows who get the voters to the poll and get them to vote our way. Those are the fellows who got you elected governor, Frank.
I know. What are you driving at?
Just this. We don't have to worry anymore about the veterans putting up a stink. They fixed themselves yesterday.
Fixed themselves? How?
When Sam Robbins shot Joe Martin. You see, Robbins is a foreigner.
No, he isn't. He's an American citizen. He fought in the war. Even got a couple of decorations.
So what? He's a Jew, isn't he?
Well, yes, but...
To us, he's a foreigner. So are a lot of other veterans at that demonstration. Catholics and hunkies and Italians and Negroes. Dirty foreigners, all of them.
That's not true, George, and you know it.
Of course it's not true. Plenty of suckers believe it, and that's all we care about. So we show them a Jew who shoots his best friend who's a Protestant. That's the kind of guy who wants a state job for himself and for other foreigners like himself.
But Sam Robbins doesn't want a state job.
Plenty of newspapers who think our way, like the Daily Clarion, say Robbins does want a state job. And that he's the leader of these foreign veteran punks. That makes the job-hunting veterans look bad. We don't have to worry about them anymore. You get it?
Yes, I think I do. It's kind of dirty, George.
Dirty? No, it's just smart politics. Relax, Frank. All your troubles are over.
Yes? What is it, Briggs?
Excuse me, sir, but this telephone message just came from Mr. Latimer. Party said it was urgent.
Me? Let's have it, Briggs.
Here you are, sir. Will that be all?
Yes, thanks. Good Lord. No.
What is it, George?
Bad news, Frank. Bad news for me and for you.
His florid face paling, Big George Latimer reads the message again, as if hoping his eyes deceived him. What is in the message? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
Say, gang, isn't it swell to know that you can collect not just one prize, but 49 different top-notch prizes right in packages of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal? Sure, you'll find a prize in every package. And there are 3 different kinds of prizes you may find there. For instance, you may find one of 18 different comic strip buttons, each picturing a favorite comic strip character. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 exciting plane models in the series. Or you may get a beautiful full-color bird picture from a series of 24, each with a description so that you can make like you're a bird expert from way back. That makes 49 different prizes you can collect. And that's only a part of the fun in Kellogg's Pep. Think of the good eating fun in those crisp whole wheat flakes, all crammed with keen, catchy flavor. I mean, Pep's delicious, a prize in itself. Yes, sir, a dish of Pep the Sunshine cereal is strictly on the terrific side. So speak to Mom about it today. Ask her to get you a supply of Kellogg's Pep from the grocer first thing tomorrow. And remember, look for your prize inside each package of Pep.
In Governor Wheeler's office in the state capitol, a message has just been delivered to Big George Latimer, the state political boss. Latimer pales as he reads it.
This is bad news, Frank. Bad news for me and for you.
Well, what is it, George?
From the Metropolis Hospital. Told them to keep me posted on Joe Martin's condition. They say Martin has passed the crisis and should recover.
Well, that's fine. Why do you call it bad news?
You fool. Didn't I just tell you the only way we can get those veteran punks off our necks is by making them look bad?
Why, yes, but, well, they still look bad, don't they? Robbins shot Martin, and even if Martin recovers...
You say Robbins didn't shoot him.
But I thought you said you saw him pull a gun and it was found in his house.
So what?
Wait a minute, Ed. Do you mean you didn't see him pull a gun?
What's the difference whether I saw him or not? I said so, didn't I? Everybody believed it. It's bad, Frank. You've got to do something. Do it fast.
But quiet.
Got to think. Yeah. I've got it. Get Briggs in here. Hurry. I'll get this, Lippy. Here's the line I want you to take in the Clarion. Play it for all it's worth. Sam Robbins, a veteran, shot Joe Martin, another veteran.
Because he wanted to make trouble for the governor.
Now, wait a minute,
You stay out of this, please, Frank. I know what I'm doing. You follow me, Lippy?
Yeah, you said Robbins shot Martin to make trouble for the governor, but I don't get it.
Robbins figured the state troopers, whom the governor ordered to disperse the GIs, would be blamed for the shooting. It took place while the troopers were firing over the men's heads. So the rap would be pinned on Frank here, the governor. See?
Sure, I see that, but why should Robbins want to make trouble for Governor Wheeler?
Because Robbins is a foreigner. And that's what the foreigners want. To stir up a lot of trouble and then start a revolution to change the government.
Oh, you know that isn't true, George.
Will you stay out of this, Frank? Of course it isn't true. But if we make enough people believe it...
Just a minute, Mr. Latimer. You said Sam Robbins was a foreigner, but you're wrong. He was born right here in Metropolis.
So what? He's a Jew, isn't he?
Sure, but that's only his religion. That doesn't make him a foreigner.
That's what I've been trying to tell, George.
What's the matter with you two? Where are your brains?
Now, look, George, I have several Jewish
Shut
friends.
Up. Hippie, you're doing all right on the Clarion, aren't you?
Me? Sure, I'm doing swell. Some of the boys at the newspaper club look the other way when I come in because they don't like the smell of the Clarion, but I don't care. I make more dough than most of them.
And you want to go on making that dough, don't you?
What are you driving at, Mr. Latimer?
Just this. I have a great deal of influence at the Clarion.
Sure, I know you have.
And if I wanted to have you fired tomorrow, I could.
I guess you could. So what?
So I'm just reminding you that you're here to listen to me. Not to put up any argument.
Okay by me, Mr. Latimer. It's no skin off me what you say about the Jews or anybody else. I was just pointing out the facts.
Never mind the facts. I say the Jews are foreigners. And so are the Catholics and the Negroes. Everybody else who isn't a native-born white Protestant. That clear?
You sound like those guys who run around in sheets and hoods, but like I say, it's no skin off me. Only, what's the reason for all this, Mr. Latimer?
He wants to smear the veterans who are applying for state jobs by claiming they're led by what he calls foreigners.
That's right. By fellows like Sam Robbins, who shoot their best friend to get what they want.
Oh, so that's the gimmick. You want to get these job-hunting veterans off your neck so you can go on passing out all the soft jobs to your boys.
That's none of your business, Lippy.
Oh, that's why
That's enough.
Hmm? Oh, the governor isn't in on that, huh?
I'm not in on what? Look here. What are you two hiding from me?
Nothing, Frank.
I don't believe it. You admitted to me that you didn't see Sam Robbins pull a gun during the demonstration last night, but you told the police he did, and now Robbins is in jail. If Martin dies, Robbins will be tried for murder.
That's just the trouble. Martin may pull through, say Robbins didn't shoot him. That's why I want the Clarion to go to town on this story. I want Robbins so dirtied up and all the other foreigners with him that even if Joe Martin does recover and says Robbins didn't shoot him, nobody will believe him.
Now, wait.
I get it. You want Robbins tried on the front page of the Clarion and condemned before Joe Martin can get into the witness box and clear him.
Now you're using your head.
I refuse to be a party to a rotten deal like that. You listen to me, George Latimer. You may have been instrumental in having me elected governor.
May have been.
All right, your political machine did elect me.
I elected you. And I can break you. Don't forget that.
What do you mean?
Just try stepping on my toes, and you'll find out what I mean. Okay, Lippy. Get going. I want a story on the first page of the Clarion that'll set this state on its ears.
I'll give it to you if it's okay with my boss.
Don't worry about your boss. He'll do what I say.
I'm on my way. So long, fellas.
Come into my office, Kent. I want to talk to you.
Okay, Chief.
Did you see the latest edition of the Clarion?
No, I didn't. I've been too busy. What now?
Oh, here. Read it.
Thanks. Joe Martin shooting a foreign plot. Radical veterans led by Sam Robbins scheme to force resignation of courageous Governor Wheeler. Well, of all the...
Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it. Of all the dirty, lying, yellow journalism, this takes the cake.
Yes, it certainly does. Well, great Scott, Chief. Calling Sam a foreigner, implying he shot Joe Martin as part of a foreign plot against our government, that'll stir up public opinion against Sam.
And against all the other veterans who want state jobs.
There's more to it than that, Chief.
What do you mean?
Well, in the first place, the Clarion is practicing an old and rotten strategy. To try an accused man in the press before his trial in court comes up, so that the public and prospective jurors are prejudiced.
I see what you mean.
Yes, and also this looks to me like a deliberate attempt to fan the flames of religious and racial hatred. Clarion makes a great point here, the fact that Sam Robbins is a Jew and Joe Martin a Protestant.
No, I think that's only incidental.
No, I don't. Matter of fact, I think that... Great Scott.
Well, what now?
I just remembered something. Something that may be very important. What? Look, Chief, I was supposed to meet Ben Thompson, the lawyer we hired to defend Sam Robbins, at State Police Headquarters.
Yes?
Please call him, will you, and tell him I'll be late. As a matter of fact, I may not be there at all.
Well, why not? No, wait a minute. Where are you going?
The Clarion just gave me a lead. It may clean up this whole dirty mess before any more harm is done.
But wait.
So long, Chief. I'll see you later.
Leaving Editor Perry White shouting after him, Clark Kent hurries through the Daily Planet city room to the elevators. What is the important clue he says he has just found? We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, from me to you, here's a tip. Whatever you do, give yourself plenty of time in the morning for breakfast so you don't have to rush eating your Kellogg's Pep. Why, it's so good that you want to get the full golden toasted flavor in every spoonful. Yes, sir, you don't want to skip one bit of fun of eating those crisp, catchy flakes of whole wheat. So tomorrow morning, just hitch up your chair and settle down to some mighty smooth eating with Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Is it delicate and light? Does it taste terrific? And you get a swell surprise when you see the nifty prize in each Pep package. A real surprise of a prize. Could be you'll find a model fighting plane in colored cardboard, one of 7 great Pep planes you can collect. Or it could be you'll find one of 24 new full-color bird pictures with a description on the reverse side so you can identify these birds in the air. Or could be your next Pep prize will be one of 18 bright-colored comic buttons sporting a famous comic strip character like Orphan Annie or Moon Mullins or Superman himself. So start collecting all 3 kinds of those keen Pep prizes. Ask Mom to get you a supply of Kellogg's Pep from the grocer tomorrow.
In an American Legion post not far from the Daily Planet building, 100 recently returned veterans of World War II are holding an angry meeting. Most of them had participated in the protest demonstration at the state capitol the preceding night. Now, 2 of them, Eddie Kane and Bob Sloan, are on the platform. Kane holds a copy of the Metropolis Clarion aloft as he addresses his fellows.
What's cooking now, Eddie?
You all saw what the Clarion says about Sam Robbins and about us, didn't you? The Clarion says Sam is a foreigner. And it says most of us who were at the Capitol last night are foreigners.
So was I! I hope that story was right here at home when Sam and the rest of us were doing his fighting.
Are we going to let them say this about us? Are we going to let them railroad Sam to the chair when we all know he didn't shoot Joe Martin? All you guys feel that way about it? Okay. What are we going to do about it?
We'll do plenty. You said it! Same thing the GIs did in Tennessee when those dirty politicians down there tried to push them around. Now you're talking!
Wait a minute, fellas. Wait a minute. I guess we all feel the same way about this. So I move we march down to the state police barracks, all of us, and take Sam out of jail.
Leaping from their chairs, the veterans fall into columns of 4, march out of the Legion post behind Eddie Kane and Bob Sloan, and head for the barracks of the state police. Marching proudly, fully 100 grim-faced veterans march on toward the jail. And as they march, a flash of what is afoot comes over the teletype in the state capitol building and is immediately rushed to the office of Governor Wheeler, who reads it and pales. Quickly, he reaches for his telephone, dials the private number of Big George Latimer.
George, the veterans are marching on the state police barracks.
What?
Yes, I got the flash on the teletype from headquarters. They must be going to release Sam Robbins. What'll I do, George? What'll I do?
Why, nothing, of course.
Nothing? What do you mean? There'll be a riot. Men will be killed.
Sure they will. That's fine.
Fine? George, are you crazy?
Not at all. This is going to work out even better than I expected.
What?
That Clarion story must have done the trick.
But George...
Listen, Frank. Use your head. The veterans are taking the law into their own hands. That proves what we said in the Clarion. That they're hotheads. Led by foreigners who want to make trouble.
Oh, you mean...
I mean that after tonight we'll never have to worry about these veteran punks again. Or about Sam Robbins either. This is wonderful, Frank. Wonderful.
They've got no right to say my Sam shot Joe Martin. Why, Sam and Joe thought the world of each other, Mr. Kent.
I know.
Since they were 6 years old, they've been friends. Sam would do anything for Joe, anything.
I believe you, Mrs.
And in that
Robbins.
newspaper it said Sam was a foreigner.
Well-
That's a lie, Mr. Kent. You know that's a lie.
Don't pay any attention to what the Clarion said, Mrs. Robbins. We all know Sam is a loyal American. Just the victim of a plot to discredit him and others of his faith, as well as all the veterans who demonstrated against the governor.
A plot?
Uh-huh.
What kind of a plot?
Well, at the moment, we're not quite sure, but we have our suspicions. You may be able to help us pin it down.
I?
Mm-hmm.
How can I help?
Try to remember. Joe Martin was shot about 5:30 yesterday afternoon. Sam stopped here at the house about 6 on his way to the hospital. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. But he didn't stop to hide a gun like the newspaper said.
Oh, no.
He wanted to get the money he saved in the army to help Joe.
Yes, I know that. At any rate, Sam was here about 6. Now, what time did the state troopers come here and find the gun?
About half an hour, maybe 3/4 of an hour later. I know it wasn't 7 o'clock yet because...
Well, never mind that. But between the time Sam was here and the state troopers came, were you alone?
Yes, I was alone.
Did you have any visitors?
No. Oh, wait.
What?
That friend of Sam's. He was only here a few minutes.
What friend of Sam's?
I don't remember his name.
Think, Mrs. Robbins. Think hard.
Well, I think he said it was Charlie, but I'm not sure. He said he knew Sam and Joe in the army. Just got out of the army and he wanted to see Sam.
Mm-hmm. Did he come into the house?
He came in for just a minute. I gave him a cup of tea and some cake.
I see. Tell me, did he go into the kitchen with you, or did he wait here in the living room while you prepared the tea and cake?
Now, let me think. Is that important, Mr. Kent?
It might be. Can you remember?
Yes. He stayed in here, in the living room.
Mm-hmm. About how long, Mrs. Robbins?
Not long, just while I heated the water and arranged the tray.
Well, 5 or 10 minutes, say?
Not anymore. Why are you asking all these questions, Mr. Kent?
5 or 10 minutes, eh? Plenty of time to get upstairs, discover which room was Sam's, and slip the gun into a bureau drawer.
What? Oh, no, he couldn't. Why, he said he was a friend of Sam's. They were in the army together.
Yeah, so he said. What did this fellow look like?
He was about medium height, thin.
Mm-hmm.
He had on a blue suit. He was kind of light-complected and...
Yes?
And his mouth. I thought maybe it was because he was wounded in the war. It was kind of pulled up on one side.
Lippy Williams.
Who?
Lippy Williams, a reporter for the Daily Clarion. You've described him to a T. I wouldn't put a thing like this past him either. And the Clarion has been playing up this story to a fare-thee-well, practically trying and condemning Sam in their paper.
But why? He never did anything to them.
Well, if I'm right, if it was Williams who planted the gun here, I think I can guess why. But first, I've got to prove it was he. Now, look, Mrs. Robbins, don't mention this to anyone, please.
Mom, they're going to get Sam out of jail.
What? Who is?
Federal. Oh, I didn't know anybody was...
No, it's all right, son. I'm Clark Kent.
Mr. Kent is trying to help Sam. This is my younger son, Lenny.
Yes, how are you, Lenny?
Hello.
What's this about Sam getting out of jail?
Well, the boys from Sam and Joe's Legion post about 100 of them. They're marching to the jail. They're going to bust down the doors and get Sam out.
Oh, no.
They might even have him out already.
Is it good for them to do that, Mr. Kent?
No, it's bad. It's about the worst possible thing the veterans could do for Sam or for themselves. Look, I'm going to try to stop them. You two stay here. I'll see you later.
Hurrying from the Robbins house, Clark Kent steps into a shadowed alleyway, strips off his business suit, and takes to the air as Superman.
Up, and away!
Red cape streaming in the wind, the man of steel flashes across the great city, appears over the gray stone barracks of the state police, just as a mob of angry, shouting GI veterans are massing for a rush on the central building housing the jail. Lined across the shallow steps, their backs to the jail doors, stand a dozen uniformed state troopers, guns in hand. The grim-faced sergeant stands a step above them, ready to give the order to fire, as the mass of veterans, like a great wave, suddenly surges across the few dozen yards separating them from the jail.
Follow me! Let's take this place like we took Okinawa!
Wait! Just a minute, boys. Just a moment. Don't let your troopers fire, Sergeant.
Hey, look,
Wait, fellow. Wait, I said. Listen to me.
Superman, that's right.
Now, look, you boys have the wrong idea. We don't settle our quarrels in this country by taking the law into our own hands. You know that. That's what you fought the war for, to preserve respect for law and order.
What law?
Sam Robbins never shot Joe Martin.
Oh, you're right. And we'll prove he didn't. In the court.
Governor Wheeler laughs at the court.
Listen to me. Two wrongs don't make a right. Besides, you fellas are handling this wrong. You're playing right into the governor's hands. Don't you see that?
What do you mean?
How? You've already been called foreigners.
Sure, because we have the guts to stand up for our rights.
All right. Listen to me. If you attack the jail, you'll be committing a crime against the government. Public opinion will turn against you. The people will believe you're being led by radicals and foreigners. That's what certain people are trying to do, discredit you, so they can go on discriminating against you. Don't you see that?
Well, that makes a lot of sense, sure.
As plain as the nose on your face. Go home now, please. Don't resort to violence.
What about Sam Robbins? We're not going to let the governor railroad him to the chair.
Oh, wait a minute. Sam won't be railroaded to the chair. Joe Martin has a good chance of recovering. As soon as he's able to talk, he'll clear Sam.
Suppose Joe dies. Then what?
Yeah, what about?
Even in that case, I can promise you that Sam won't be made to pay for a crime he did not commit if you'll cooperate with me and do this in the American way. But if you don't, you'll only discredit Sam and yourselves and further the cause of intolerance. So break this up. Go home now, please. Go home quietly.
Soberly, the crowd of GI veterans listen to Superman's plea, then turn slowly and begin to disperse. The Man of Steel breathes a sigh of relief as he watches them go. But unknown to him, a new and even greater threat is being prepared against Sam Robbins and the men who fought for a better world. We'll be back in a moment to find out what that threat is. So stand by.
You know, gang, with school started and all, it's a good idea to go in for a real bang-up breakfast. Because if you don't eat right in the morning, how can you have fun at your work and take in more fun after school besides? So tomorrow morning, just get next to a dish of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. See how those crisp, tender flakes of whole wheat tickle your taste. Put you in the mood to eat hearty. Take in that sunny, catchy Pep flavor, all golden toasted. Why, you'll say Pep's one prize of a dish. Or you might say Pep's a 49 prize dish, because there are 49 different prizes you can get in packages of Pep, one in every single package. For instance, you can collect 7 exciting colored cardboard models of fighting planes. Easy and fun to assemble. And you can collect a great new series of 24 bird pictures, each with a full description to help you identify these birds in the air. And then there are those 18 bright-colored comic buttons, each with a famous comic strip character to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. So get busy collecting all 3 kinds of those wonderful prizes. Ask Mom to get you a package of Kellogg's Pep next time she goes shopping.
In the library of Big George Latimer's palatial home, the state political boss has just learned that the veterans did not storm the state police barracks. His scowl deepens as Lippy Williams, star reporter for the Metropolis Clarion, says...
It's a lucky thing those GIs stopped in time, Mr. Latimer.
Lucky? Are you kidding? I was hoping they'd go through with it. We couldn't have gotten a better break.
How come?
Public opinion. Those vets would have been marked lousy if they broke into that jail.
Maybe, but it might have exploded the powder keg you're sitting on.
What powder keg?
Look, those stories you had me write in the Clarion smearing Sam Robbins and what you call foreigners, they've stirred up a lot of crackpots. You should see some of the letters and telegrams that came in.
What sort of letters?
Well, the usual stuff. Down with the Jews, down with the Catholics, down with everything. And wait until the mail comes in from upstate where they hate everybody who didn't come over on the Mayflower. They'll flood the office.
They will, eh?
Well, sure. Oh, some of those nuts up there need is a couple of juicy stories like we've given them in the Clarion, and they're off to the races yelling for blood. Foreigners' blood. That's why I say you're lucky the GI stab at the jail was called off.
So they want foreigners' blood upstate, do they?
And how? They're fanatical nuts. During the war, they organized German Bunds. Now they hate anyone whose name isn't Smith. Of course, it's none of my business, but...
Just a minute, Levy. Connect me with the governor, please. This is George Latimer. Hello, Frank? Listen, I'm quite worried about that business at the police barracks this evening. Yes, I know the veterans didn't go through with it this time, but they might the next time. I think you'd better have Robbins moved out of Metropolis. Where? Well, I think an upstate jail would be the safest place. Oh, no, I said upstate. You've got to take care of him, you know. Make sure no harm comes to him.
Hey, no, don't do that.
Get one of the judges to transfer him, Frank. Don't delay. It might look bad for you if anything happened to one of our war veterans. Fine. Good night, Frank.
You can't move Robbins upstate, Mr. Latimer. You know what'll happen?
No, what?
Those nuts up there will lynch him.
Will they?
Do you know what you've done? You've just signed Sam Robbins' death warrant, Mr. Latimer.
On the contrary, Libby. These veterans might try to storm the police jail again. And if they do, there'll be shooting. Robbins and many others may be hurt. So I think it's best to get them out of Metropolis and upstate where it'll be safe.
Safe? I just finished telling you that section is a hotbed of religious prejudice.
So what?
So you're sending Sam Robbins into a lion's den, that's what. His life won't be worth a nickel up there.
Nonsense. He'll be in a good, strong jail. Nothing can happen to him.
Are you kidding? The Clarion is a big sale upstate, and those stories we've been running, calling Robbins a foreign radical and practically saying he shot Joe Martin, those stories will have those fanatical nuts up there howling for his blood. They won't let a little thing like a jail stand in their way.
I think you're exaggerating, Lippy.
No, I'm not. I know you're deliberately sending Sam Robbins up there to be lynched.
Now, wait a minute.
You don't have to play games with me. You know that if Joe Martin recovers, and it looks like he will, he'll say Robbins didn't shoot him.
Look here.
And then where'll you be with your charges that Robbins shot Martin as part of a plot to make trouble for the governor and take over the state? And where'll you be with your charges that all the vets at the mass meeting were radicals?
They are. They're foreigners.
Nuts! Just because a man goes to a different church from yours doesn't make him a foreigner, and you know it. But you figure if you can brand them all foreigners and radicals, you won't have to give them state jobs. You can keep the jobs for your party ward healers.
That's quite a speech, Lippy. Are you through?
Not quite. You're making a big mistake, and I want to save your hide.
Nice of you.
No, just financially profitable. Now, look, you figure if you can get rid of Robbins, there won't be a trial to backfire in your face and the governor's. It won't come out that you framed Robbins so you could smear the GIs.
Who framed Robbins?
You did. You and me. Remember?
You can't prove I had anything to do with it.
Oh, yes, I can, if I have to. Just remember that in case you ever get any bright ideas about crossing me up.
I don't like your tone, William.
You mean you don't like me because I keep my eye on the scoreboard? Well, that's okay. I don't like you either. I'm in your bandwagon because it pays off, and I like the feel of the green stuff in my pocket. That's why I want to save you from kicking over the apple cart.
What do you mean?
I mean if you send Sam Robbins upstate and something happens to him, you won't only have the Metropolis veterans on your neck, you'll have veterans all over the state after your scalp.
Nonsense. Nobody cares what happens to a dirty foreigner, except other foreigners.
That's where you're wrong. The guys who fought in the war learned that it doesn't make any difference to a bomb what church you went to or what color your skin is.
That's sentimental rubbish. Some of the boys may have felt that way during the war, but the war is over.
They still feel that way. Take my word for it. You're going to make a big mistake if you go through with this scheme.
Just a minute. Hello? Who? Oh, yes, Briggs. The governor said what? Oh, he did arrange to send Robbins upstate, huh? To the jail at Grant City. I see.
Uh-oh.
Tell me, Briggs, how was Robbins being transferred? By car, huh? I think that's a very good idea. Attract less attention. Well, thank you for calling me, Briggs, and give the governor my regards. Right. Goodbye.
So you've got it all set, huh? Robbins is going to Grant City, and you found out they're taking him by car.
Now, listen, William.
Let me see. They might go out of Metropolis 2 or 3 ways, but they'll have to hit Highway 120 just below Lordville. Well, I can see there's no use my trying to argue you out of this, so I'll be toddling along.
Now, wait a minute. Where are you going?
To Lordville, of course.
What for?
I smell a story, and I'm a newspaper reporter. Remember?
I don't want you to go to Lordville.
Mm-hmm. You can't talk me out of it, pal.
Well, I guess not. Really doesn't make any difference anyhow. I was just going to say that I happen to have some business at Grant City.
You're telling me.
And I'll take you along in my car if you like. I can drop you off at Lordville.
Oh, swell. Let's go.
In a moment, I'll have to make a phone call first. You just wait for me in the living room.
Okay, but hurry it up.
Long distance, please. Long distance. I want to call Lordville.
Hello?
That you, Dean?
Yes, who's this?
George Latimer.
Oh, Mr. Latimer. Say, some of the boys and I were just talking about you. What kind of a city do you live in, anyhow?
Metropolis? What do you mean?
Well, it's some city where a dirty foreigner can shoot an American boy, a veteran at that, and get away with it.
Oh, you mean the Robbins case?
That's what I mean. I'd like to see the dirty foreigner try anything like that around this part of the state, or even show his big nose up here. We know how to take care of scum like that.
You're sure a fire reader, Dan. Good thing the governor asked the police to put Robbins in cold storage in the jail at Grant City instead of Lordville.
Grant City? What do you mean?
Some of Robbins' GI friends started to storm the state police jail early this evening. The governor decided Robbins would be safer in the Grant City jail, so a couple of troopers are driving him up here tonight.
They are, huh? Tonight?
Yeah. They just left, as a matter of fact. But the reason I called you, Dean, is the elections are getting pretty close, you know, and your district is important. I've got to know that you've got it sewed up.
Well, you don't have to worry about my district, Mr. Latimer. It'll vote the way you want it to.
Oh, that's fine. I expect to be up your way in a week or two, and I'll call you.
You do that, Mr. Latimer.
Well, good night, Dean.
Good night. Driving him up tonight, are they? That's fine. That's just dandy. Couldn't have planned it any better myself.
Hello?
Mart, this is Dean Carter. Listen, you know about that Sam Robbins in Metropolis? The guy who shot the war veteran yesterday?
I'll say I do. I was just reading the Clarion. That Robbins is a lousy foreigner and a radical, too.
That's right. Now listen. A couple of state troopers are driving Robbins up to the jail at Grant City tonight.
They are?
Yeah. They just left Metropolis, so they ought to come through Lordville in about an hour. Now listen. I'll call Eddie and Bill, and you call Mac and Red and maybe Harry Thomas. Tell them we'll meet behind Mac's barn, where the highway detour is, in half an hour. Okay?
I'll say it's okay. They'll fix that rat.
You bet we'll fix him. Now get busy, Mart. I'll see you in half an hour. Behind Mac's barn.
In half an hour, Lordville's men of hate will gather in the dark to await Sam Robbins. What will happen? We'll know in a moment when we return for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, when a fellow or girl feels like tearing into a good day of work or play, it's almost a sure bet there's a good hearty breakfast somewhere in the picture. And did I mention Kellogg's Pep? Why, Pep is such an appetite tickler that it makes you want to eat hearty. Are those crunchy whole wheat flakes terrific? That sunshine flavor, that strictly Pep flavor is sure lure for your taste. You know, Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's famous for crisp, golden, sunny goodness. And Pep is famous, too, for swell prizes. Yes, sir, there's a prize in every package of Pep you open. For instance, your next prize may be one of 18 bright-colored comic buttons with pictures of your favorite comic strip characters to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 model planes in the series. Or your next Pep prize may be one of 24 full-color bird pictures with a description on the reverse side so that you'll be hep on birds. You'll be mighty keen about all 3 kinds of Pep prizes. So ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep tomorrow, sure thing.
As a state police car bearing 2 troopers and Sam Robbins roars away from the Metropolis City Jail under cover of darkness and starts toward Grant City, Clark Kent is shown into the offices of Abner Brown, managing editor of the scandal-mongering Metropolis Clarion.
Well, well, well. Clark Kent of the holier-than-thou Daily Planet. Don't tell me you've been fired and came here for a job.
Hardly, Mr. Brown. I'm looking for Lippy Williams.
Well, I didn't know you and Lippy were pals.
We're not. I just want to introduce him to a lady outside your office.
What lady?
Sam Robbins' mother. I think she can identify him as the man who came to her house yesterday.
Why? Lippy didn't cover the story at the Robbins house?
Well, maybe not, but unless I miss my guess, he came there posing as a GI buddy of Sam's, and when Mrs. Robbins was fixing some tea for him, he slipped upstairs and sneaked a gun into Sam's bureau.
What are you talking about? What gun?
The gun with which Joe Martin was shot. That means Lippy knows who shot Martin and...
Sam Robbins shot him.
Oh, no, he didn't. Despite the rotten stories you've been printing in the Clarion. Somebody else shot him. To discredit the veterans who want jobs and to stir up racial and religious hatred. I think Lippy is working with that person.
You're out of your mind, Kent. We don't do things like that at the Clarion.
Oh?
Lippy had nothing to do with planting a gun or any other evidence.
Do you mind if I ask him?
Of course not. He ought to be back here soon, and you can tell him what you just told me and then duck. Because he's sure to take a poke at you.
I'll take my chances on that. You better answer your phone.
Thanks. Yes? Oh, yes, Inspector. What can I do for you? What? What's that? Holy cat. When? Where? All right. Sure, okay. Be right down. So long.
What's the matter? You look upset.
Yeah. We thought I'd upset you, too. Lippy Williams was just found on River Road with his head caved in.
What?
He's dead. That was the police, Kent. Lippy Williams was just found on River Road. Dead.
Taking Mrs. Robbins with him, Kent rushes out of the Clarion office and into a cab. A few minutes later, we find him talking with Inspector Henderson in front of the city morgue.
What's the story on this killing, Inspector?
Well, we don't know much yet, Kent, except that Williams was found on the side of the road just inside city limits. The medical examiner said he'd been dead about, half an hour when a patrol car spotted him.
Any idea who did it?
Nothing to hang a hat on. But, and this isn't for publication, Kent.
Okay.
But my hunch is that Williams was done in by someone he libeled in a Clarion story.
Oh?
Yeah, there are plenty of guys in this town with a motive like that, you know.
Could be. My guess is he was put away for knowing too much.
Knowing too much? About what?
About the shooting of Joe Martin.
What? Hey, Kent, if you know something you've been holding...
I don't know anything except that Sam Robbins is innocent.
But I have got some ideas, and that's one of them. And if Mrs. Robbins, Sam's mother, can identify Williams as the man who came to see her, I'll explain what's in my mind.
Okay. Let her view the body. Where is she?
She's waiting for me in that cab. Come on, we'll take her into the morgue. Was this the man who came to your house yesterday, Mrs. Robbins?
Well, was it?
Please, Inspector, please. I know this is trying, Mrs. Robbins, but it must be done to help Sam. Now, don't try to talk. Just nod your head. Was this the man? You're positive? All right, that's all I want to know. Come on, Mrs. Robbins, I'll put you in a cab. Wait for me in your car, Inspector.
All right, Cat, now give. What was Lippy Williams doing at the Robbins house yesterday, and what's that got to do with what happened tonight?
Well, here it is, Inspector. I'm practically certain that Lippy planted the gun in Sam's room.
What gun?
The one with which Joe Martin was shot.
Oh? What makes you so sure of that?
Because I happen to know that Lippy came to the Robbins house a half hour or so before the state troopers showed up and found the gun. He posed as one of Sam's buddies. Mrs. Robbins went into the kitchen to get him something to eat, leaving him alone in the living room. He was gone several minutes.
And you think Lippy, a reporter, slipped into Robbins' room and planted the gun, huh?
That's right.
Why?
Because I think he was working with the people who have deliberately framed Sam.
What people? And who says he was framed?
I do. And so do Sam's GI friends who were standing next to him at the Capitol when Joe Martin was shot. They all swear he did not have a gun. And I'm sure Joe Martin will say the same thing when he's able to talk.
But Big George Latimer said he saw Robbins pull a gun.
I know. But I believe Big George Latimer is, mistaken.
You won't find many takers for that idea in this state. But go on. You say Williams was working for someone who wanted to frame Robbins. Like who?
Like whoever wants to discourage the veterans from complaining that they're being discriminated against in state job appointments on the basis of race and religion.
I'll be hanged if I can see a connection between the GI beef against the state administration and Williams' murder. Maybe I'm sick.
I don't like to agree with you on that, Inspector, but...
Watch your manners, Kent.
Sorry, but you asked for it.
Never mind. Just tell me how these two separate headaches tie in.
I've already told you. I think Lippy either found out about the plot to frame Sam Robbins or was in on it for his scandal sheet. So?
So he was bumped off because he knew too much, huh?
Right.
No, I don't buy that, Kent.
Well?
I still think Williams was knocked off by somebody he slandered in the Clarion.
Okay, how do we find out?
Well, the first thing to do is to trace his movements tonight.
Just what I was about to suggest.
All right, let's go see Williams' editor, Abner Brown.
Okay.
Take us to the Metropolis Clarion, Riley. Brown, you know where Lippy Williams was this evening?
Why, no, I don't, Inspector.
When was the last time you saw him? Alive, I mean.
Well, this afternoon. Stopped in here to file a story and then left.
Did he say where he was going?
No.
Did you hear from him after he left?
Well, yes, I did. He phoned in.
Where from?
I don't know.
What did he call about, Brownie?
None of your business, Kent.
Well, it's my business, so tell me. What did he phone in about?
He said he expected to have an important story for us soon and to stand by. That was all.
What kind of a story?
I don't have to divulge that.
Now, look here, Brown,
Don't pull that tone on me, Inspector. I know my rights.
Oh, come on, Brownie. It's no secret that Lippy was working exclusively on the Sam Robbins story, is it?
Well, no, I suppose there's no harm in admitting that.
And that's what he called about?
Uh-huh.
What did he say?
Well, nothing much. Only that he expected to have an important story in a couple of hours and to stand by.
Well, maybe that's enough. Come on, Inspector. Now I think it's time I had a talk with Governor Wheeler.
Leaving Inspector Henderson, Clark Kent proceeds alone to the state capitol building for a talk with Governor Wheeler. Meanwhile, on the edge of a dirt road detour near a small upstate town, two men armed with rifles crouch in the moonless darkness beside an old barn. 6 other men, similarly armed, squat behind bushes across the narrow country lane.
How long has it been since Latimer called you, Dean?
Well, about 2 hours.
You shouldn't take them troopers that long to get this far with that Robbins fella.
Now, don't you worry. They'll be along soon now. Maybe they was held up in traffic or something.
Maybe. Can't help being impatient, though. Just itching to get my hands on that rotten foreigner.
And so am I.
We'll teach him what it means to shoot a real American, and a war veteran at that.
You bet we will. But hang on to your patience.
You wouldn't have had this chance if Latimer hadn't tipped me they was transferring Robbins to the county seat tonight.
That's right. You know, I'm surprised.
Hold it.
What's the matter?
I thought I saw Harry's flashlight up the highway. Must have been a car's light, though.
I hope there's only the 2 troopers with Robbins.
Well, that's all they usually send with 1 prisoner. Anyhow, there are 8 of us, not counting Harry. They won't be expecting anything.
It won't be so good if another car happens to turn into the detour behind them.
Well, if one does, Harry'll head it off. There's not much traffic out this way at night, though.
Oh. And did you see what this Daily Planet said today, Dean, about Sam Robbins being a good American and not a foreigner?
That stinking paper? All those veterans who are hollering for state jobs are foreigners and radicals. Just because they were in the Army, they think they got everything coming to them.
Yep. We worked to get Governor Wheeler and the party elected, and these guys want state jobs same as us, because they're ex-GIs.
They're all radicals, that's why, like Robbins. We got to teach those guys a lesson.
Maybe when we get through with Robbins, those other foreigners will see that we 100% Americans mean business.
You said it. They better... Hold it.
Huh?
There's Harry's signal.
Yeah, I see it. That means the trooper's car turned into the detour. Look, Dean, you can see the headlights.
Uh-huh. Hey, you guys, get ready.
We're ready, Dean.
Come on, Mart. Get this block across the road before they come around the bend.
Yeah, let's go.
Seizing 2 long sawhorses, Dean Evans and Mark Wells dragged them into the road, into the path of the approaching car bearing Sam Robbins and the unsuspecting state troopers. We'll be back in a moment with the dramatic climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, you know what keeps so many fellows and girls all hepped up about dashing into breakfast on the double quick? Why, a sunny, golden toasted bowl of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. When Pep leads off the menu, it's mighty hard to wait for breakfast. You keep thinking how tender and how crisp those whole wheat flakes are. And you keep looking forward to your first taste of Pep's keen sunshine flavor. And then, when you do dig into your bowl of Pep, was there ever such a smooth treat? And say, while we're speaking of smooth, did you ever see anything to beat the slick prizes Pep gives you? 3 different kinds of prizes, one or the other in each package of Pep. For instance, your next prize may be a bird picture in brilliant color with a full description on the reverse side. Collect all 24 of them, and will you be wise on birds? Or maybe your next Pep prize will be one of 7 colored cardboard plane models, easy to put together. Or maybe it'll be a bright-colored comic button picturing a favorite comic strip character, 18 in all to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. There's one or the other of these 3 knockout prizes in every Pep package. So ask Mom to be sure and get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal.
The state police car bearing 2 uniformed troopers and Sam Robbins has just swung off Highway 120 into a narrow dirt road detour. Now, turning a bend, the troopers see 2 long sawhorses hung with a red lantern blocking the dark road. The man at the wheel applies his brakes and speaks to his companion who is in the rear seat with Sam.
What's the matter with these road workers? They turn us off into a detour and then block it.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Better get out and have a look, Bill.
Okay.
Put your hands up, troopers.
What?
Put them up, I said. High. Reach for your guns, and you're both dead men.
Holy smokes. 4, 6, 8 masked guys, all with rifles.
Yeah. What's the idea? What do you want?
We want your prisoner, Sam Robbins.
What?
You want him for what?
That ain't none of your business. We want that dirty foreign radical, see? And we mean to take him if we have to shoot you to do it. So don't try to stop us. Okay, men. Go get him.
Hey, what is this, a holdup?
Not exactly, trooper. Just do as we say and nothing will happen to you.
What do you want?
We want your prisoner. That there Sam Robbins feller.
What?
What do you want him for?
That ain't none of your business. We want him for personal reasons, and we aim to get him. We have to shoot you both to do it.
Are you crazy?
You know what you're doing?
Sure, we know what we're doing. Now keep your hands up and don't try nothing fancy. Okay, Mart. Drag him out of that car.
Now, wait a minute.
Stand up, trooper.
Come on, Robbins, get out.
I can't. I'm fast.
Oh, no, then I'll come and get you out.
You fool. Can't you see the man's handcuffed to that steel rod?
What do you know? And I skinned my knuckles on him for nothing. You filthy coward. If I had my hands free, I'd...
Shut up. Don't move, trooper. Now, where's the keys to them handcuffs?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Lying ain't gonna get you no place. Search him, Mart.
Now, look, you're asking for trouble.
When I want advice from you, I'll ask for it. Find them keys, Mart?
Yep. Here's some.
Okay, unlock them cuffs.
Keep him up, troopers. If I hurry, I'll fire a bullet through your middle.
I hope you know the penalty for interfering in the law. If this is an execution of duty.
Duty? If you was to do your duty as good Americans, there wouldn't be no necessity for good citizens to be doing it for you.
What do you mean?
I mean, you'd have done to this foreign radical what we're fixing to do to him. We're daring to shoot a 100% American veteran, that's what.
You can't take the law into your own hands.
Ain't nobody going to stop us. Leastwise, you.
Don't you realize you're condemning Robbins without a fair trial?
Don't you fret none about that. We'll give him a fair trial, all right. Won't we, boys?
Okay, the handcuffs are off. Now get out of this car, you rat. We got a surprise for you.
And I got one for you.
Hold it, Mert. Bring him out here. We'll take care of him.
Come on. Come on, get out. Get out, you no good.
Okay, brave boy. I'm getting out.
Tom, Doc, tie up the troopers. When you get through, we'll come back and turn them loose.
Okay, Dean. Come on, Tom.
I'm warning you, crackpots. You better listen to us.
We got to take this corner, Mac, you drive that car off the road where nobody will see it. Okay, Robin, start walking.
Where?
Into those woods. We got a nice spot picked out for your grave.
His face pale, but his step steady. Sam Robbins walks into the woods, the rifles of the men of hate pointed at his back. At the same moment, miles away in Metropolis, Clark Kent is talking with Governor Wheeler in the library of the Executive Mansion.
Just a moment, Mr. Kent. Are you implying that I know who killed that Clarion reporter, Williams?
Don't you, Governor?
Of course I don't.
I suppose you'll also deny that you knew Lippy Williams planted the gun with which Joe Martin had been shot in Sam Robbins' house.
He what?
You heard me.
You said Williams planted the gun with which Joe Martin had been shot?
In Sam Robbins' room, yes. I was about to prove it tonight, but someone who apparently guessed I might do just that put Lippy out of the way.
Good heavens, I can't believe it.
Oh.
Why do you think I would have put Williams to framing Robbins?
You know why. So you can make the public believe the veterans are led by hot-headed radicals, as you charge in the Clarion.
Well, there may have been certain unfortunate statements credited to me, but I assure you I didn't make them.
You didn't, eh? You mean somebody else made them for you?
I didn't say that.
Look, Governor, quit stalling. One man has already died in this dirty business. Joe Martin, a war hero, may die, too. And if he does, Sam Robbins, another war hero, will be executed for a crime he did not commit. Now, is that what you want?
No, of course not.
All right, then why did you permit Sam Robbins to be framed?
I tell you, I'm not responsible for that.
Well, who is?
I don't know.
You don't know. Come, Governor, admit it. It's obvious that you're encouraging the Clarion to try Sam in its dirty pages and to condemn him before his case can even come to trial. You hope to get the GIs off your neck that way.
That isn't true, Kent.
I'll tell you what else you're doing. By constantly calling Sam a foreigner and saying he shot an American, you're deliberately and maliciously stirring up racial and religious intolerance.
Stop talking like that, Kent. If I wanted to crucify Robbins, would I have sent him out of Metropolis? What?
You sent him out of Metropolis?
Yes, so he'd be safe. I was afraid the veterans might try to storm the city jail again to free him, as they started to do today when Superman stopped him. If I was against Robbins and the veterans, as you say, I would have welcomed trouble that would make them look bad.
Wait a minute. Where did you send Sam?
To a jail upstate at Grant City.
Grant City? No.
Yes, I said...
Why, you... Oh, you know Grant City is a hotbed of nationalistic crackpots and religious fanatics. You didn't send Sam Robbins there to be safe. You sent him there to be late.
Now, just a moment, Mr. Kent.
Why did you send him there? When?
Well, this evening, George Latimer suggested it should be done at once.
Big George Latimer, eh? You mean he told you to send Sam to Grant City?
He didn't tell me. He merely suggested that Robbins ought to be removed from Metropolis.
And sent upstate where he'd be removed from this world, eh?
Now, wait. You mustn't misunderstand.
Don't worry, Governor. I understand everything now. But I want you to understand this. I'm going to Grant City at once. When I get there, I want to find an order to have Sam Robbins brought back to Metropolis. Or else...
Now, look here. How dare you talk to me that way?
You haven't heard anything yet, Governor. Get that order and pray as you've never prayed before that nothing happens to Sam Robbins before I get to Grant City.
Hurrying from the governor's mansion, Clark Kent steps behind a hedge and, resuming his true identity of Superman, takes to the air. Up, and away! We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, you could hunt far and wide before you find more exciting prizes than you find in packages of Kellogg's Pep. Mind you, not just one kind of prize, but 3 different kinds, one or the other in each package of Pep you open. and are all three kinds fun to collect. Take, for instance, those bright-colored comic buttons, each picturing a favorite comic strip character. Will you look slick with all 18 of them pinned on your jacket or your beanie cap? Or take that snappy series of 7 pet model planes made of colored cardboard and a cinch to put together. Or those 24 full-color bird pictures, each with a full description on the reverse side, helping make you a mighty wise bird yourself. You'll find one or the other of these three kinds of prizes in every package of pet. 49 different prizes in all that you can get. And say, while you're collecting them, you'll be enjoying just about the slickest, keenest-tasting dish ever. Yes, sir, those crisp golden flakes of Pep sure do let loose with the flavor. I mean, Pep makes breakfast a terrific affair. In fact, from every angle, Pep's a prize dish. So ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, and look for your prize inside the package.
18 miles from Grant City, where Superman has just arrived, a group of 10 men, 9 of them masked, stand in a dark, moonless forest glade. The unmasked man is Sam Robbins, whose hands are bound tightly behind him. Scornfully, he looks at the grim armed pack surrounding him and says,
All right, you sticky cowards. My hands are tied behind me, and there are 9 of you with guns. So go on, get your dirty work over with.
Shut your mouth, you rotten foreigner.
Why, you
didn't have to do that, Mark.
Huh? What's the matter with you, Doc?
Nothing. Except I don't like to see a man slugged when he can't fight back, that's all.
This ain't no man. He's just a...
Yeah?
Just untie me for a minute, and I'll show you all. One at a time or all together.
You'd better be quiet, lad.
Don't bother with him, Doc. We're going to shut his mouth for good. Well, maybe you can shut my mouth, but you can't shut the mouths of all the guys who fought the war against mugs who talk like you. And what's more, my buddies will take care of you guys. The same way they took care of Hitler's and Hirohito's too. Oh, it makes me sick to think we went through Guadalcanal and Okinawa and Iwo and all those other places for guys like you. Where do you get the nerve to call yourselves Americans? Hey, what is it? What are we waiting for? Wait a minute, man. Hold it.
What's on your mind now, Doc?
Still feeling sorry for this radical scum?
Look, man. Maybe he did shoot that other veteran.
What do you mean about me?
Well, even if he did, he did fight in the war for us, like he says, and...
What's the matter with you?
Be quiet, everybody. Well, what, Doc? Finish what you started to say. Go on.
Well, all I got to say is, I think Robbins deserves a fair trial in the court.
Quiet! Quiet! You think anyone who happened to be drafted into the Army can get away with any crime against Americans, Doc?
Oh, no, certainly not, but...
But nothing. Robbins was a foreign radical. He shot 100% American veterans. And if the state police think they can pamper them and waste taxpayers' money with trials and such like, we aim to show them they're wrong. Am I right, boys?
Wait a minute.
You better keep your oar out of this, buddy, or this lynch-mad mob will give it to you, too. Thanks for trying.
Lynchman, huh? Look, guys, shooting is too good for Robbins. We got a few hoses here. I move we finish him with them or with our feet. What do you say? You bastard! Come on!
And as Superman, learning that Sam had been sent upstate, streaked to the jail at Grant City in an effort to protect him. Sam was taken from the state police car by a band of masked men and marched to a small starlit clearing in the dark woods. There, the men began to beat him with rubber hoses. But as Sam fell to the ground, one of the men, called Doc, who had attempted to halt the cowardly attack, suddenly fires his rifle into the heads of the mob and shouts a command. Listen.
Cut it out, men! Let him alone!
Who fired that shot? You start!
Stand where you are, all of you. I said stand where you are, Dean. Don't reach for your gun, any of you.
What's the idea, Doc?
This has gone far enough, Dean. Too far. Can you get up, Robbins?
Yeah, I guess so.
Get up, then, and come over here.
Oh, no, you don't.
Let him alone! The first man who touches him, don't reach for that gun, Mark.
I don't get this. I thought you were one of them.
I was, but I'm watching you, Dean. Stand still unless you want to get it.
Now listen, Doc.
No, you listen to me, Dean. And all you others listen. I've got a belly full of this. 9 of us ganging up on one man. A man who fought in the war for us.
Hey, don't fight for me! For me neither!
You let Robbins and a lot of other boys like him do your fighting for you. You wave flags and call them heroes while the shooting's going on. But when they get maxed, you call them foreigners. Well, I fell for that intolerant stuff for a while, too. But not anymore. This whole rotten business makes me sick to my stomach.
Now, look, Doc, you know as well as we do that Robbins shot an American boy, a veteran.
How can I or anybody be sure of that? He says he didn't, so he's entitled to a fair trial.
Now, listen, Doc.
Stand back, James. Take one more step and by heaven, I'll drill you.
Oh, you traitor. What do you think you're going to do now?
I'll show you. Sam,
Yes, sir.
can you get the rope off your hands?
I've just about got it off now.
There. Good. Pick up their rifles from the ground. Bring them here. Then stack them and set them afire.
Okay. You better not try that, Doc.
Just try and stop us and see what happens. Go on, Sam.
I'm warning you. You'll get the same thing this foreigner's going to get. We're such a dog.
I'm afraid we'll have to run for it, Robin. Take a rifle.
I've got one.
All right. Keep them covered and back up into the woods. Then follow me.
I'm right with you, Skipper.
Hey, Dean, they're going to try to get away. Don't anybody move. I warn you. From now on, I shoot to kill.
That goes for me, too. How we doing, Doc?
Okay so far. Another step or two, we'll be in among the trees. Then we run like 60.
I hate to run from these jerks without getting in a lick or two. I guess we'll have to.
Get ready now. Okay. Run for your life.
Disregarding the prickly brambles and heavy underbrush, Sam Robbins and Doc rushed through the dark woods, literally fleeing for their lives as rifle shots fired by their bigoted pursuers whistled past their ears and ricochet from the trees. Meanwhile, again in his guise of Clark Kent, Superman is growing anxious as he waits for Sam's arrival in the office of Warden Jones at the Grant City Jail.
I can't understand why the police car hasn't arrived with Sam Robbins yet, Warden. I'm worried.
Nothing to be worried about, Kent. The troopers may have been delayed by traffic. Or maybe they stopped someplace for coffee.
But they left Metropolis over 3 hours ago, and it isn't more than a 2-hour trip from there.
Yes, that's right. Maybe they had motor trouble.
They would have reported that by radio, wouldn't they?
If they did, they would have reported to the nearest trooper barracks.
Look, Warden, I wonder if you'd contact the barracks between here and Metropolis and find out if they had a report. Huh?
No reason for that, Kent. I tell you, there's nothing to worry about.
Well, my hunch is there's plenty to worry about. Sam Robbins wasn't really sent up here for his safety, you know.
What do you mean?
Please, Warden, do as I say, will you? Maybe the Daily Planet and I can do you a favor sometime.
Well, all right.
Yes, Warden?
Davis, all the state troopers barracks at Lordville, Bensontown, and Olivia. Find out if they've had any report on the car bringing Sam Robbins up here.
Yes, sir.
And now relax, Kent. We'll have a report in a few minutes. Oh, this must be the report, Kent.
I hope it's good.
Yes, Davis.
I spoke to the barracks at Lordville, Bensontown, and Olivia, Warden. No report on that car.
Uh-oh.
Okay, thanks. Oh, wait, Kent. Where are you going?
Out to look for that car. I'm afraid Sam Robbins is in trouble.
Hurrying from the city jail into the dark street, Clark Kent swiftly strips off his business suit and takes to the air as Superman. Up, up, and away! Heading south, the Man of Steel streaks above the main highway between Grant City and Metropolis, his keen eyes searching for the missing police car and Sam Robbins. Unknowingly, he rockets within a few miles of the dark woods in which Sam and his benefactor, the man called Doc, are running from their pursuers, falling headlong over hidden stumps, picking themselves up and panting on. And then...
It's no use, Doc. You go ahead. Don't bother about me.
What do you mean, Robin? What's the matter?
Well, I didn't want to tell you before, but I got a slug in my knee in the war. When those pals of yours knocked me around, the old knee cracked out. Oh, go ahead, Doc. Get away.
Can leave you here? Nothing doing. I got you into
Forget
this.
that. You did your best to make up for it.
Come on, boys. We don't get them.
Here they come. Go on, Doc. Save your own skin. Don't worry about me.
I'm not leaving you. Look, I'd hoped we could get to the river, but there's an old barn just ahead, where the woods end. If we can get to that, we might be able to hide out or hold them off. You think you can make it?
I'll try. I still wish you'd go ahead.
I'm not leaving you, so stop wasting your breath. Here, put your arm around my shoulder. There.
I can see them. Come on.
Oh, they spotted us. Come on, Sam. We've got to make that barn.
Grimly, Doc and the crippled Sam Robbins half walk, half run toward the old deserted barn in the fields beyond the woods, closely pursued by Dean Carter and his bloodthirsty followers. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, there aren't many prizes, or such swell prizes that you can get as easy as the prizes that come in packages of Kellogg's Pep. 3 different kinds of prizes, one or the other in each package of Pep you open. Just think, your next Pep prize may be a bright-colored comic button picturing one of your favorite comic strip characters, 18 in all, to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. Or maybe you'll find a bird picture in brilliant color with a full description on the reverse side. Collect all 24 of these, and will you be hep on birds? Or maybe you'll find one of the 7 slick-colored cardboard plane models, easy and fun to put together. And all the while you're collecting these 3 kinds of prizes, you'll be in on another kind of swell fun. Sure, I mean you'll be enjoying just about the best breakfast dish you ever hustled across your tongue. Crunchy golden whole wheat flakes of Kellogg's Pep. Pep really sends you. What flavor? A fresh, brisk flavor, all crisp and catchy. A wonderful flavor for breakfast. So for a prize breakfast and prizes that are super, ask Mom to get you Kellogg's Pep the Sunshine cereal.
Aided by Doc, Sam Robbins managed to limp across the open field to the shelter of an ancient barn, just as Dean Carter and his cowardly followers burst from the woods. Crouching in the open doorway, Doc and Sam fire several rifle shots toward the approaching figures, only dimly seen in the faint starlight.
Hold it, Doc. They're ducking back into the woods.
Good. Give us a chance to get our breath back. That was close. I didn't think we'd make the barn.
This is great. I put in 3 years fighting Japs, and then I come home and have to fight fellow Americans.
It's a dirty shame, Sam. I don't know what got into me to hook up with those fellas.
Oh, forget it, Doc. You snapped out of it.
No, I won't ever be able to forget it. I think I went haywire a couple of years ago when my wife and son were killed in an automobile accident.
Oh, gee, Doc, that's too bad.
And then Dean Carter began bending my ear with that phony down with the foreigner stuff. I knew it was poison medicine, but it had the peculiarly soothing effect, and I drank it. Well, hating seemed to help me forget. But tonight, when I saw what it brought me to, hating people is bad, Sam. Very bad.
Yeah, you're telling me. Hate is what causes wars and makes... Get away from that door, Doc. Little playmates are getting rough again.
Well, let's give them some of the same.
I'll save your ammunition. If any.
Oh, good Cotsfield. I forgot. How many bullets have you got left?
I picked up a clip before we left our chums. It's in the magazine now. And that's all, brother.
I'm down to my last clip, too.
Well, Joe Martin and I held off a gang of Japs for 24 hours once with only 1 clip between us. Now, the trick is to make each shot count.
You're a cool customer, Sam.
No, not cool. Just tired, Doc. Plain tired. Many's the night I lay out there in a foxhole, thinking how good it was going to be to get home. And then I get home. To this. It doesn't... Hey, what's that?
What?
I smell smoke.
Yeah, so do I. Where's it coming from?
I don't know. Oh, jeepers. Look, Doc, up there.
Good Lord. The haymow's on fire.
Bullets fired into the barn must have ignited the hay.
Well, this old barn is going to go up like a matchbox.
And how? Oh, come on, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we'll head toward the river.
Oh, what now? What are you stopping for?
Look out there.
Holy smokes, they got us surrounded.
Yeah. What do we do now?
You got me, Doc. From where I stand, this looks like curtains.
Look out. They're shooting through the doorway.
The dirty cowards.
Sam, look. The roof is on fire.
Yeah. This place is going up like a matchbox.
Oh, I must have been crazy to listen to those fanatics. I deserve to die for getting you into this.
Oh, forget it, Doc. We all make mistakes. It just leaves a kind of sour taste, that's all. The Japs tried for 3 years and couldn't nail me. And then I come home and get it from my own countrymen because they don't like the way I part my hair. Well, that's life, I guess. The question is, what do we do now?
I don't know. If we go out, we'll be a clear target for that bloodthirsty gang. If we stay here, we'll be roasted to death.
Looks to me like we're between the devil and the deep blue sea, Doc. The meeting is open to suggestion.
Look out, Sam! The beam's gonna fall.
Yeah, and then comes the roof. I'm afraid this is it, Doc.
As Sam Robbins and Doc await the end, Superman, searching the highway between Metropolis and Grant City, has finally discovered the missing state police car in the bushes beside the dark detour. Swiftly, he rips the ropes and gags from the 2 troopers in the bottom of the car and learns what happened.
Now, wait. Don't both of you talk at once. Just tell me, did these fellows who ambushed you take Sam Robbins away in a car?
No, they walked him into the woods.
These woods right here?
Yes, the dirty rats said they had a grave all ready for him.
Have they? Now, look, you men wait here. I'm going after them. Up and away! Don't see anyone in these woods. Just hope I'm not too late. Wait a minute. What's that fire up ahead? Better look into that. Away! Uh-oh. Barn's burning. It'll collapse in a moment. Great Scott, Sam Robbins is trapped there, and another man. And there goes the roof. Down to them. Down!
Flashing down into the blazing inferno, Superman seizes Sam Robbins and Doc, whips them under his cape just as the flaming roof crashes down upon him. Shaking the debris from his shoulders, the Man of Steel rockets up through the flames with Sam and Doc sheltered beneath his cape and plummets down on a nearby hill overlooking the scene.
There we are. What were you fellas trying to do? Get a suntan?
We'd given up the ghost. You saved our lives, Superman.
Glad I got here in time, Sam.
Hey,
Now,
how did you know my name?
I've been following your case. I don't believe I know this man with you, though.
My name is Waters. The people around here call me Doc because I'm a veterinarian.
I see.
I'm one of the cowards who started out to lynch Sam.
Oh?
And I didn't deserve to be rescued. You should have
don't
let me...
listen to him, Superman. I'd have been a dead duck long ago if not for him holding those mugs off with a gun.
I get the general idea. You can give me the details later. What about those fellows hiding in the woods down there near the burning barn? Are they the lovely characters who tried to put on the lynch party?
Yes, sir.
They're probably scattering into the woods trying to get away.
Well, don't worry. They won't get far. I'll collect them and turn them over to a couple of state troopers who are going to be very glad to see them. You two wait here for me. I'll be back in a few minutes, and the three of us will hop back to Metropolis. This dirty business must be cleaned up before something much worse happens. Up! Up! And away! Story, Mr. White. I mean, Superman picked up Dean Carter and his hate gang and turned them over to the state troopers.
Good.
You should have heard Carter and his crackpots yell about how their rights as American citizens were being abused.
I wish I had heard them. I'd tell them a thing or two. Murderers and bigots, that's what they are, than which there's nothing lower on this earth. Well, go on, Kent. What about Sam Robbins and that fellow, Doc?
Well, Sam refused to prefer charges against Doc, so he was released. He'll testify against Dean Carter and company at their trial.
Swell. And Sam?
The state police agreed with Superman that Sam would be safer in the city jail in Metropolis, despite Governor Wheeler's idea to send him upstate.
Oh, that's fine. You know, Kent, I still can't understand the governor having sent him to Grand City. Everybody knows that's a hotbed of hate and intolerance.
Well, that's exactly why Sam was sent up there, Chief.
Well, what do you mean?
The powers that be wanted him to be lynched.
What powers that be?
Governor Wheeler, or George Latimer, or maybe both.
You mean Big George Latimer, the state political boss?
None other. The governor told me that he and Latimer talked over sending Sam upstate. For Sam's safety, they said. And I've since found out that Dean Carter is one of their political lieutenants up there. Well, Wheeler or Latimer could have tipped him off that a state police car was bringing Sam to Grant City.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Kent. You're making a serious accusation. Just because the returned GIs accuse the governor of practicing racial and religious discrimination in awarding jobs, that's no reason...
He is practicing discrimination, and so is Latimer, who's in charge of patronage. They'll do anything to get the veterans off their necks. That's why they shot Joe Martin, or had him shot, and framed Sam Robbins for the shooting.
They had Martin shot. Are you out of your mind?
Not at all. The obvious purpose was to discredit the non-Protestant GIs who want jobs by charging that the vet organizations are led by hotheads and radicals who won't stop at anything to make trouble.
But would they go so far as
Look, Chief, look. Latimer said he saw Sam pull a gun during the veterans' demonstration at the Capitol, didn't he?
Yes.
All right. Several GIs who were standing right next to Sam swear he didn't pull a gun. And besides, the location of the bullet indicates that Joe was shot from a position straight ahead and a little above. That could only mean the Capitol steps, where Wheeler and Latimer were standing with their police car.
All right. But how can you explain away the fact that the very gun used in the shooting was found in Robbins' house, in his room?
Easy. It was put there by Lippy Williams.
Lippy Williams?
Sure.
The Clarion reporter who was murdered?
Right. The man who wrote those rotten stories about Sam and the veterans.
But why?
Oh, now, Chief, in case you've forgotten, the Clarion is the mouthpiece for the governor's party.
Oh, I know that. But for the newspaper to stoop so low... Well, anyhow, that doesn't prove your fantastic statements that the governor or Latimer shot Martin, framed Sam Robbins for it, and then deliberately sent Robbins upstate to be lynched.
No, you're right there, Chief. But I expect to have the proof very soon.
Oh, you do. Mm-hmm. You do, eh? And how, may I ask, do you expect to get it?
From Governor Wheeler.
Governor Wheeler?
I had a little conversation with him before I went to Grant City. I think I put the fear of the Lord into him. By this time, he should have heard that Sam's lynching did not come off. So, at any time now...
At any time what?
I expect a break. Naturally.
Now, look. The only break is in your brain, Kent. It's cracked wide open.
Oh?
Now stop playing detective. Knock out the story about the lynching. I want a 2-column spread for page 1 tomorrow. And... Just a minute. Yes?
Is Mr. Clark Kent there, please?
Kent? Yes, hold on. You, Kent.
Oh, thanks. Clark Kent speaking.
This is John Briggs, Mr. Kent, Governor Wheeler's secretary.
Oh, yes, Mr. Briggs. This may be it, Chief.
What?
The governor wants to know if he can see you on a very important matter.
Well, he certainly can. Where and when?
Could you come to the Capitol at once? I realize it's rather late, but this is quite urgent.
What is it, Kent?
Just a minute, Chief. Oh, yes, I can make it.
That's fine. Oh, by the way, the governor suggests that you come to the side door of his mansion. The side door, if you don't mind.
The side door?
Yes, I gather that this matter is extremely confidential.
Yes, it certainly
I'll
is.
be at the door myself to let you in.
Okay, I'll be there in a few minutes.
Excellent. Oh, Mr. Kent.
Yes?
If you will respect the governor's confidence and not mention that you're coming here, he'll be very grateful.
I won't mention it. And I'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, what is it, Kent?
This is either the break I was expecting, Chief.
Yes?
Or it's a trap.
A trap?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know. I'll know more in a few minutes. The trailer's getting warm, Chief. Very warm indeed. See you later.
We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know what, gang? Well, right now, instead of even mentioning that swell cereal, Kellogg's Pep, I want to talk about something else. Your sports equipment. For instance, your bicycle and your baseball bat and glove and your, your hockey stick and your skates, things like that. Do you have a special place to keep them? A place to store them when they're not in use so that they're not in the way of the other people in your family? You see, I've just heard about a mighty serious accident that happened to the father of a fellow I know because of carelessness along that line. And I know that you wouldn't want anybody at your house to suffer because you left your things about in the hallway or on the stairs where they can trip people up. So speak to Mom about it today. Ask her to help you find a safe place to store everything of yours that could possibly cause an accident. Oh, and one thing more, gang. Be kind of careful yourself. I mean about rushing around so and running through the house and up and down the stairs. Take it easy. That's the idea. Play safe.
Clark Kent has arrived at the governor's mansion on the state capitol grounds. Going to the unlighted side door as directed, he is admitted by Briggs, the governor's secretary, and escorted to a library on the second floor. As we join him now, Governor Wheeler has just entered the room. He nods to Kent as he signals Briggs to leave and carefully closes and bolts the door behind him. Taking a position near the fireplace, the state's chief executive addresses himself to Kent.
Forgive me for keeping you waiting, Mr. Kent, and for bolting the door. I must be very careful.
Careful, Governor?
Yes, because I have something very important and extremely personal to reveal to you before...
Before what?
Well, you see, Kent, I'm about to commit suicide.
Talk like that, Governor. Taking your own life isn't the way out. It's never the way out.
Taking my life? Oh, no, I didn't mean that.
What?
I meant I intend to commit political suicide.
Political Oh, you had me scared there for a moment.
I'll admit I thought of the other, but as you say, that isn't the way out.
No.
And now I want to make a clean breast of things, even though it'll ruin my career, and I want you to make it public through you and the Daily Planet.
Well, I respect you for that, Governor. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, the war veterans were right when they accused me of practicing racial and religious discrimination in awarding state jobs.
I thought so.
I didn't want to do it, Kent, believe me. I've always held that there's nothing more foul or more unfair than discriminating against a man because of his race or his church.
You're right, there isn't. Why did you do it?
George Latimer forced me to.
Big George? Well, how could he? You're the chief
executive.
I
know what you're going to say. I could have defied him.
Oh, yes.
Well, perhaps I could have for a short while, but, well, I was weak and ambitious. I knew that if I defied Big George, he would break me politically.
So you sold out your conscience and the Bill of Rights you swore to defend.
Don't rub it in, Kent. I've suffered enough already for what I've done, particularly tonight when I learned what almost happened to Sam Robbins. If he'd been lynched, I would have been one of his murderers, just as surely as if I had personally struck him down.
And why did you send him to Grant City when you knew that area is a hotbed of intolerant fanatics, ex-German Bundists, and all-around bigoted crackpots? You must have known Sam's life wouldn't be worth a nickel in that lunatic's paradise.
Well, I should have been aware of that, but I honestly didn't think of it that way until you called it to my attention. You see, I'm so accustomed to accepting George Latimer's suggestion.
You mean Latimer told you to send Sam upstate?
Yes, he did.
Ah, now we're getting down to cases. Tell me this, Governor. Did you also, at Latimer's suggestion, shoot Joe Martin and then frame Sam Robbins for it?
I shoot Joe Martin? Oh, of course not.
Latimer did it himself?
Why, wherever did you get such a preposterous notion?
There's nothing preposterous about it. One of you or someone with you on the Capitol steps shot Joe Martin, making it easy to frame Sam Robbins for the shooting.
No,
Latimer said he saw Sam pull a gun during the veterans' demonstration. He was lying, wasn't he?
Yes, George practically admitted to me that he didn't see Robbins pull a gun.
All right. Did he admit that he had Lippy Williams, the late Clarion reporter, plant the gun in Sam's house?
No, but good heavens, Mr. Kent, that must have been what they were keeping from me. Williams started to say something that fitted in just with what you've said, and George stopped him. That was just the other day when George was telling him what to write in the Clarion.
I see.
You must be right, then. George must have... No, that's impossible. He wouldn't. He couldn't go that far.
Oh, no? He went so far as to send Sam to Grant City knowing he'd be lynched, didn't he?
Well, yes.
And I think he shot Joe Martin, or had him shot. Wait a minute. Was there anyone else on the Capitol steps with you and Latimer during the GI demonstration? Besides the state troopers, I mean.
Let me think. No, I believe not. Wait, Briggs was there.
Briggs?
Yes, my secretary, but I'm sure he didn't do it. George treats him like a servant, and Briggs loathes him. Besides, he's a very nice, quiet little fellow.
All right, then it must have been Latimer himself. But how are we going to prove it? If he hadn't killed Lippy Williams, we might get the truth there, but
You think George murdered Williams?
Yes, sure. Williams was a smart aleck, and I don't think Latimer would let him live knowing how much he knew. Oh, there must be some way. Wait a minute. Governor Wheeler, you said you wanted to make restitution for what you've done.
Yes, of course.
All right. Will you help me get the goods on Big George Latimer?
Well, how can I do that?
I've got an idea. Now, you said he admitted to you that he didn't see Sam Robbins pull a gun.
Well, he practically admitted it.
Okay, get him to admit it again. Try to make him admit other things. Tell him you're worried. You've got to know where you stand. Threaten to go to the police unless he tells you everything.
But that's ridiculous, Kent. Even if he admitted anything to me, it would only be my word against his. You certainly don't think I could get him to confess such things in public, do you?
No, but if your private conversation were recorded, that would be all the proof we'd need.
Recorded?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
I'll install a listening device right here in your library. Say, right behind that American flag on the wall. Now, you tell Latimer you've got to see him and bring him here. Get him to talk. And I'll do the rest.
Wait.
Look, Governor, George Latimer showed us that he won't stop at murder in order to spread racial and religious intolerance. This is the only way we can possibly prove what he is and stop him before much worse things happen in this state. Don't you see, Governor?
All right, Kent. I'll cooperate.
Good. Okay, now, when can you get Latimer here?
Well, it's pretty late. Probably not before tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. I'll see what that is. Yes, who is it?
It's Briggs, Mr. Governor.
1 minute. What is it, Briggs?
Mr. Latimer is here, sir.
What? Mr. Latimer?
Yes, sir. He says he's leaving town for a week or two and wishes to see you before he goes. He's downstairs at the moment.
Uh-oh. Does he know I'm here?
No, Mr. Kent. The governor explained to me that your visit is highly confidential.
Good.
Well, what'll we do, Kent, if he's leaving town?
We've got to get this job done before he leaves town.
But how?
I know how. Briggs, will you please tell Mr. Latimer that the governor will be down at once?
Shall I, sir?
Why, yes, I suppose so, but I don't
trust me, Governor, please.
Oh, very well. Go on, Briggs.
Yes, sir.
But Kent...
Just a moment. All right. Now, listen, Governor. You go downstairs and meet Latimer. Stall him along for 5 minutes. Then bring him up here and get him to talk.
But why? I don't understand. We planned...
Give me 5 minutes. When you come back here with Latimer, the listening device will be installed.
Well, all right, but still I don't see...
Please, Governor, go ahead.
Oh, very well, Kent.
Good, he's gone. Now, out of these clothes. Yeah, if only Candy Myers is home, and if only he still has that listening device. This is the only way I know to trap Latimer. The only way. Here we are, all set. Now for a quick trip as Superman. Up at this window. Out and away!
Leaping out into the night sky, Superman streaks away with but 5 minutes to arrange his pep for Big George Latimer. We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, it sure steps up the fun of collecting prizes when you know that you can get not just one prize, but 49 different top-notch prizes right in packages of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. You'll find a prize in every package. And there are 3 different kinds of prizes you may find there. For instance, you may find one of 18 different comic buttons, each picturing a favorite comic strip character. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 exciting plane models in the series. Or you may get a gay-colored bird picture from a series of 24, each with a full description on the reverse side so that you can make like you're a regular bird expert. Now, that makes 49 different prizes you can collect, all of them strictly super. And that goes double for Pep itself. Why, the way Pep lets loose with the sunshine flavor is something terrific. Every single one of those crisp flakes of whole wheat gives you the business. Every spoonful stacks up the flavor. Every bowlful tickles you plenty in the taste department. No fooling, Pep's a solid sender. So, well, what's keeping you, gang? Ask Mom for Kellogg's Pep, the sunshine cereal, and look for your prize inside the package.
Traveling with the speed of light, Superman has rocketed to the home of Clark Kent's friend, Candy Myers, the private detective, secured the listening device, and streaked back to Governor Wheeler's mansion on the Capitol grounds. Now, working swiftly, he is just completing the installation of the device beneath the American flag on the wall of the governor's library when he hears the doorknob turn.
Uh-oh. Here come the governor and Latimer. Just drop the flag over the device. Like that. There we are. Out through the window.
Away! What was that?
Huh?
What was that, Frank? Didn't you hear it?
Oh, no, I...
Sounded like a terrific wind. Not suddenly. I'll close the window. Well, as I was saying, Frank, I'm going out of town for a week or 2. Elections are coming up, you know, and I've got to stir up the boys. Make sure you get the votes in, and you get them in the right way. You know what I mean.
I know, George. Look, I'm glad you dropped in. I want to talk to you.
Really? About what?
Oh, about Sam Robbins and other things.
What about Robbins?
Well, I want to ask you some questions about him, George, and I want you to answer truthfully.
Why, certainly, Frank. I'll be happy to tell you anything as long as we're alone. What do you want to know?
Well, Robbins didn't shoot Joe Martin, did he?
Of course he did.
Oh, come now, George. He didn't, and you know it.
I don't know any such thing. Well, this is a mighty nice flag on the wall, Frank. Never really noticed it before.
Oh, never mind the flag. Answer my question. Who shot Joe Martin?
Why, I told you...
What are you doing to that flag?
Stripping it down. So I can get at this listening device underneath it.
No. Wait. Stop.
There. That takes care of that. Oh, you rotten double-crosser. You thought you could trap me, eh?
No, George. Now listen.
You want to know who shot Joe Martin, eh? Well, now, I'll tell you. I shot him.
You did?
Yes. I did. Now, Frank, I'm going to...
No. Put that gun down, George.
I'll put it down. When I'm finished with it. First, I'm going to use it on you, Mr. Governor. Try to double-cross, eh, Frank?
Now, wait a minute,
You want
George.
me to tell you how Joe Martin was shot and how Sam Robbins was
George,
framed?
wait.
Maybe you're even going to ask me how Lippy Williams got his. It was all going through that microphone to be recorded by that machine Clark Kent rigged up.
No, wait, George. Put that gun down.
I'll put it down. After I've used it on you, you rotten double-crosser.
George, please, listen.
Listen to what? You trying to lie out of it?
No, I'm not going to lie. I'll admit everything. I did try to trap you.
You're telling me. I knew something was cooking the minute Briggs phoned me that you'd call Kent. And told him to come over here tonight.
Briggs? He phoned you?
Of course. You didn't think he was working for you, did you? You ought to know you can't put anything over on me.
I guess I should have. But I feel better for having tried. The only thing I regret is that it didn't work.
Listen to the hero. The modern Nathan Hale, who's so sorry he has but one life to give for his country. Maybe Kent will put that under your picture in the Daily Planet tomorrow. The picture with the wide black border around it.
I'd rather have that as my last picture than the one you'll get in convict stripes and a number.
They'll never put a number on me.
I wouldn't be so cocky if I were in your place, George. You see, Kent knows you shot Joe Martin and framed Sam Robbins for it. And he knows you murdered Lippy Williams, the Clarion reporter, too.
Kent only thinks he knows. They can't prove a thing. Neither can anyone else.
That's where you're wrong. You think you're above the law, but you're making a mistake.
I never make mistakes. You should know that by now. You should have known better than to talk to Kent in the room where there's a fireplace, too.
Fireplace? What do you mean?
What, sucker? Briggs.
Yes, Mr. Latimer?
What?
Come down here.
Yes, sir.
You see, Frank, the flue goes up the wall through the room above.
All Briggs had to do was sit up there and listen to your conversation with Kent.
Oh.
You were a fool to turn on me, Frank. You were doing all right. I'd already made you governor. I was even thinking of running you for the Senate.
That doesn't matter to me. But I was a fool. Yes, I was a fool to hook up with you in the first place.
Is that
Certainly
so?
you only wanted to rub a stamp in the governor's chair. A stuffed shirt who would do anything you ordered. Even violate the Constitution to practice racial and religious discrimination.
So what? The Constitution doesn't give us the right to get rid of the foreigners. We'll take care of them our own way. And believe me...
You've changed the very meaning of the word. Why, to you, everyone who isn't a native-born white Protestant is a foreigner.
That's right, they are.
They are not, and you know it. This country was settled and built by people of many races and religions, all of whom came from foreign lands. The Constitution and Bill of Rights guarantees equality to all, regardless of what church they choose to attend.
Rubbish. I told you before to forget that stuff, but you wouldn't listen to me. No. You have to listen to punks like Clark Kent and the sentimentally stupid war veterans. Okay. So now you're going to pay for it.
I don't care.
Shut up.
You want me, Mr. Latimer?
Yes, Briggs. Is everyone out of the house?
Yes, sir. I sent all the servants home for the night. I told them it was the governor's orders.
Good. My car is parked out front. Bring it around to the side door and wait for me. Make sure nobody's there.
Yes, Mr. Latimer.
Just a minute, Briggs.
You're wasting your breath, Frank. I told you he was working for me. I'll start walking.
Where?
Downstairs to the side door.
What for?
You wanted to know what happened to Lippy Williams, didn't you? Well, here's where you'll find out. By practical demonstration. Start walking. And remember, I'm right behind you with a loaded gun. All clear, Briggs?
Yes, Mr. Latimer. There's not a soul on the ground.
Good. Open the rear door of the car.
Okay.
I'll come over here and give me a hand with the governor.
Where is he?
Right here in the hall. On the floor.
Where? Uh-oh.
He fell down the stairs.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see what happened, Briggs?
No. No.
All right. I said he fell down the stairs. Do I have to make myself any clearer?
No, of course not, Mr. Latimer.
Good. Take a seat. I'll take him under the shoulder.
Okay.
Quick. In the car. Wait.
Yes, sir?
Who are those men outside the gates? Charles Street.
Oh, those. War veterans. Picketing.
This time of night?
Yes, sir. They showed up earlier this evening with big signs reading, Governor Wheeler discriminates against veterans. We were good enough to fight for our country, but not good enough to get jobs. Stuff like that.
Oh. More of those foreign radicals, huh?
Well, they're not all foreigners.
Just as bad if they stand up for them. Wait a minute. Gives me an idea. Put the governor down, Briggs.
You mean right here on the ground?
Yes, right here.
Somebody might show up.
You bet somebody will show up.
But, Mr. Latimer...
Listen, get into my car and drive it back in front of the house.
Back in front of the house?
Yes, then...
But I thought you were going to
I changed my mind. I'll stop interrupting and listen. Park my car in front of the house. Then walk back to the grounds to Charles Street and tell the veterans Governor Wheeler wants to see them. Here, the side door.
Yeah, but...
Don't ask questions. Just do as I say. Then come upstairs to the library and I'll explain. Hurry up now.
Well, okay, you're the boss.
State Police Barracks, Corporal Wilkes speaking.
This is George Latimer, Corporal. Big George Latimer.
Oh, yes, Mr. Latimer.
I'm afraid Governor Wheeler's in trouble. Can you bring a detail of your men to the executive mansion at once?
Why, certainly, sir, but what's
No
wrong?
time to explain now, Corporal. Hurry. Come to the side door.
Okay, Mr. Latimer, we'll be right there. Hey, Ross, Hanley, Kames, on the double. Something's wrong at the governor's mansion.
We'll return in a moment with the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, you want to remember the number 49, because 49's the number of prizes you can collect from packages of Kellogg's Pep. There's one in every single package. For instance, you can get 7 different colored cardboard models of fighting planes. Easy and fun to assemble. And then there's a great new series of 24 bird pictures, each with a full description to help you identify these birds anywhere you see them. And there are 18 bright-colored comic buttons, each with a famous comic strip character to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. Now, that makes 49 different prizes you can collect. And that's only a part of the fun in Kellogg's Pep. Think of the good eating fun in those crisp whole wheat flakes, all crammed with keen, catchy flavor. I mean, Pep's sunny golden toasted flavor is famous. Why, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. Yes, sir. When it comes to brightening up breakfast, Pep's a terrific hit. So get in on the fun, gang. Ask Mom to bring Kellogg's Pep from the grocer tomorrow. And be sure to look for your prize inside the package.
Except for a light over the night telegrapher's desk and another lighting the relaxed features of a dozing rewrite man, the large city room of the Metropolis Daily Planet is dark and deserted. But Perry White's office is brightly lit as the gray-haired editor and Clark Kent sit tensely, as if waiting for something momentous to happen.
Maybe you ought to call the governor, Kent.
No, Chief. Latimer might still be there.
Yeah, but it's after midnight.
Patience, Chief. Governor Wheeler said he'd call the moment Latimer left.
Okay. Oh, if only this works. You're sure the recording device was okay?
Well, Candy Myers said it was the last time he used it.
Didn't you test it?
I didn't have time. I only had 5 minutes to get from the governor's mansion to Candy's house and back to the Capitol.
What? 5 minutes? But how...
The governor should have called by now. What did you say, Chief?
You said you only had 5 minutes to get from the governor's mansion to Candy Myers' house and back. That's at least 6 miles each way.
Did I say 5 minutes?
You certainly did. You couldn't have made the trip both ways in less than an hour.
Couldn't I?
Of course you couldn't. Now look here, Kent, Oh, what am I wasting time on nonsense for? Oh, what a story this'll be. If you know what you're talking about, I mean.
Don't you worry about that.
Big George Latimer, publicly branded an intolerant hate monger and a murderer. It's almost too good to be true. Oh, why doesn't the governor call? Yes, come in.
Oh, hello, Eddie.
Hi, Mr. Kent. Look, this flash just came in on the teletype, Mr. White. The telegrapher said you and Mr. Kent were still here, so I thought I'd better bring it in to you.
Yeah, let's see it.
There you go.
Good Godfrey.
What? What is it, Chief?
Here, see for yourself, Kent. Look.
Metropolis Police Headquarters reports Governor Frank C. Wheeler is near death.
What? Read the rest of it.
Near death following an attack by several war veterans, all of whom have been captured by state troopers who were called to the scene by Mr. George Latimer. Great Scott, what does this mean?
His eyes bulging, Clark Kent stares at the teletype flash and repeats the startling words.
Governor Frank C. Wheeler near death following attack by war veterans. What can this mean?
Capitol Square. Governor Frank C. Wheeler is near death in the gubernatorial mansion following an attack by a group of war veterans, all of whom were captured.
As we continue now, Clark Kent has arrived at the governor's mansion and is admitted to the state executive's spacious study. Several uniformed patrolmen stand guard over a dozen angry war veterans as Inspector Henderson of the Metropolis Police, who has arrived to take over the case, questions Big George Latimer. Kent stands quietly by and listens.
You say you were with the governor before he went downstairs to speak to the veterans, Mr. Latimer?
That's right, Inspector. I was in his library with him on the second floor, from which we could see the veterans outside the gates on Charles Street. They were carrying signs accusing the governor, of discrimination in awarding state jobs. Their accusations were entirely false, I might add.
Now, you men will have to stop interrupting or I'll order you jailed at once. Is that clear? You'll get a chance to speak your piece later. Go ahead, Mr. Latimer.
Well, the governor was deeply disturbed, as he has been ever since these accusations began.
I shouldn't wonder.
He called in Briggs, his secretary, and told him to ask the veterans to come into the grounds to the side door. He wanted to talk to them. Briggs came back in a few minutes and said the men were coming. The governor excused himself and went downstairs.
You didn't go with him?
No. I stayed in the library with Briggs.
I see.
A moment later, we heard loud voices outside. I heard the governor's voice over them. He was saying, "Please, boys, give me a chance. Listen to me."
You mean he was saying that to us?
I don't know to whom he was speaking, but suddenly I heard him cry out. He sounded in pain. I said, "Good heavens, Briggs, I'm afraid the governor's in trouble." That's when I phoned the state troopers. Then as Briggs and I ran downstairs to the side door, the trooper's car was already coming through the gates.
What did you see when you got downstairs?
Frank, the governor, was lying unconscious just outside the door on the side drive. A group of men was standing over him.
Sure, we found him lying there when we arrived. Quiet, please. Mr. Latimer, would you recognize any of the men if you saw them again?
Yes, of course, Inspector. There they are. Over there, across the room.
Are you going to swallow that phony story, Inspector? It's a pack of lies.
Quiet,
But he's trying to say we attacked the governor.
We didn't. We found him lying there.
Quiet!
Quiet,
Please. Now, you'll have to be quiet. I'm warning you for the last time. Briggs.
Yes, Inspector.
Mr. Latimer says you were with him when he phoned the state troopers and then discovered Governor Wheeler in the drive. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You're prepared to swear to that in court?
Why, yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Do you have anything to add to his story?
No, sir. He told it just the way it happened.
Can you identify these men as the ones who were standing over the governor's body?
Why, yes, sir. And they're the same ones I told to come to the side door to see the governor.
Okay, quiet, please. That's all. Corporal Wilkes.
Right here, Inspector.
Colonel Reed has given me permission to question you.
Very good, sir.
Now, I understand you received a phone call at the state police barracks from Mr. Latimer around midnight. Is that right?
That's right, sir. Mr. Latimer said he thought the governor was in trouble. I organized a detail of 3 troopers and came here with them at once.
How long did it take you to get here from your barracks?
Not more than a few minutes, sir. We were just down the street, you know.
Uh-huh. What did you find?
We found Governor Wheeler lying in the side drive. He was unconscious, apparently from a blow on the back of the head. A group of men were gathered around him, and I discovered later they were the war veterans who had been picketing the Capitol.
Can you identify them as the group of men in this room?
Yes, sir. We detained them as the men who had attacked the governor.
Mr. Framer! That's a lie! We're being framed, just the way St. Robbins was. Just a moment, I said. Will you please be quiet?
May I ask Corporal Wilkes a question, Inspector?
Sure, go ahead, Kent.
Thanks. Did you go through this house after you arrived, Corporal?
No, sir. Briggs had already called the doctor, so we carried Governor Wheeler up to his bedroom. Then we came back downstairs to this room here.
I see. Thank you. Would you mind stepping outside with me a moment, Inspector?
Oh, what for?
Well, it's quite important. Please.
Well, okay. Oh, everybody stay here till I get back. Riley, keep an eye on these men. Oh, yes, sir.
Come on, Inspector.
Okay. Now, what is it, Kent? This looks like a cut-and-dried case to me.
Sure. That's the way Big George Latimer wants it to look.
But these veterans have been red-hot at Governor Wheeler. He probably said something to them tonight that made them blow their tops, and one of them socked him.
Well, if you'll come upstairs to the library with me, Inspector, I'll tell you a quick story and show you something. Here's where I planted the microphone, Inspector. I clamped it to the wall behind this American flag and led a wire to a recording machine in the next room.
Yeah, well, I don't see any microphone.
Of course you don't. It's gone now. And the only persons who could have removed it are either Latimer or Briggs.
Latimer or Briggs?
Sure. Except for the governor, they were the only 2 persons in the house when I left. Now, my theory is that Latimer found out about the recorder and our scheme to trap him into a confession, slugged the governor, and framed the GIs for it. Just the way he framed Sam Robbins for the Joe Martin shooting.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. How could Latimer have found out?
One way could have been through Briggs.
You mean the governor's secretary?
Right. If Briggs is working for Latimer, he could have told him the governor had asked me to come here, and he could have even overheard our conversation.
Wait a minute. Hold everything. Why would Latimer want to put Governor Wheeler out of the way?
Now, that's just what I was starting to tell you, Inspector. You see, I happen to know the governor finally rebelled at Latimer's orders to practice racial and religious discrimination in awarding state jobs. And from something Latimer let drop, he agreed with me that Big George had framed Sam Robbins and had murdered Lippy Williams, the Clarion reporter.
Holy smokes. The governor believed that?
Yes. That's why he agreed to cooperate with me in trying to trap Latimer into a confession.
Of course, you couldn't take me into your confidence.
Well,
You've always got to do these things on your own, don't you?
Sorry, but believe me, there wasn't time to work any other way, Inspector.
Well, even if you're right, you'll never prove it now. The governor is dying, and from where I sit, it looks as if his murder will be pinned on the GIs.
We can't let that happen, Inspector. We can't let Latimer crucify the war veterans on his cross of bigotry and intolerance.
That's a pretty speech, but it's too late now. Maybe next time you'll come to me when you get a lead. Yes, what is it, Riley?
The governor's doctor just sent down for you and Mr. Kent, Inspector. He said for you to get to the governor's bedside as quick as you can.
Uh-oh. That sounds bad. Come on, Kent.
Is he gone?
On the contrary, Inspector. He's suddenly taken a turn for the better.
He has?
That's wonderful.
It's practically a miracle.
We can't be certain that he'll recover, but he has a good chance.
Fine.
However, before I issue a bulletin, I wanted to speak to you gentlemen. Because when the governor was conscious for a moment, he asked for you two. Said it was very important.
He did, eh?
Yes. I'm certain he'll regain consciousness again in a few moments. I suggest you wait right here.
You bet we'll wait. If he does come to, he'll be able to tell us who tried to murder him.
Tensely, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson wait just outside Governor Wheeler's bedroom, where the state's chief executive lies unconscious, surrounded by 3 physicians and a nurse. We'll return in a moment for the climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, just suppose you were trying Kellogg's Pep for the first time. Here's what would probably happen. You'd see those crisp, golden, cheery flakes of whole wheat in your breakfast bowl, and right off, you'd dig your spoon in to sample Pep's flavor. Then a little smile would sprout on your face, because Pep has a way of tickling your taste. You take another spoonful, and another, to make sure all that catchy, super delicious flavor was real. Well, it's real all right. It's terrific. And you know, every time you eat Pep, it pleases your taste just that way. Sure, just as you get a happy surprise every time you open your package of Kellogg's Pep for the prize inside. 3 different kinds of prizes you can get, and each one a honey. For instance, you'll get either a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 in the Great Pep Air Fleet, or you'll get one of 24 beautiful color pictures of birds with a full description on the reverse side so you can identify these birds anywhere. Or else you'll get a bright-colored comic button picturing one of 18 comic strip characters to pin on your jacket or your beanie cap. So start collecting all 3 kinds of swell prizes in Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal.
As our story continues, Dr. Ross, the governor's personal physician, has just summoned Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson to the bedside.
The governor is regaining consciousness, gentlemen.
Clark Kent. Send for him. And for Inspector Henderson.
I'm right here, Governor.
Oh, good. Glad to see you. You too, Inspector.
Who did this to you, Governor?
Big George Latimer.
What? I knew it. Come over here, Inspector. I want to tell you something, an idea that just occurred to me.
Well, that'll wait. You come on downstairs with me, Kent. I'm going to arrest Latimer so fast.
No, wait, Inspector. You can't arrest him.
I can't, huh?
No.
Will you just watch me?
Listen, will you? If you arrest him, we may never be able to prove anything against him.
Are you out of your mind?
No.
You just heard Wheeler say Latimer tried to murder him, didn't you?
Yes, but it's only the governor's word against 2 others, Latimer and Briggs. Isn't that right?
Well, yes, but...
Of course it is. There's only one way to get the goods on Latimer, Inspector. Only one.
And what's that?
For Latimer to think Governor Wheeler is dead.
Say that again, Kent?
I said the only way we can get the goods on Latimer is by making him believe Governor Wheeler is dead.
What in thunder are you talking about?
Look, Inspector, I'm certain Latimer shot Joe Martin and framed Sam Robbins for the shooting. But I have no proof. And I'm certain he did away with Lippy Williams, the Clarion reporter who helped him frame Sam.
Yeah, but you have no proof of that either.
Right. And now we know Latimer tried to murder Governor Wheeler. But it's only Wheeler's word against Latimer and Latimer's man, Briggs. Now, you know a jury won't bring in a conviction on that.
I guess they won't. And against Latimer, particularly in this state.
Of course they won't. What we've got to do is to get a confession from Latimer.
Oh, sure, fine. That's all we have to do, huh? I suppose we just bring him pen and paper and say, if you don't mind, Mr. Latimer, just sign here so we can strap you into the electric chair.
No, be serious, Inspector. I think I know how to get a confession from him.
Well, I think you're nuts, but go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. This is what I have in mind. First, we get the cooperation of Governor Wheeler.
Mr. Latimer, it's my sad duty to inform you that Governor Wheeler is dead.
What?
Yes, he died just a few minutes ago.
The governor dead? Oh, no, Inspector.
I'm sorry, Mr. Latimer.
Oh, Frank. Cut off in his prime. With a brilliant career ahead of him.
Yes, tough, all right, Mr. Latimer. I know how you must feel.
Thank you, Kent. Frank gone, I can't quite believe it. We were so very close for many years. Well, I must go up to pay my respects. Oh, by the way, Inspector, those GIs, what are you going to do about them?
Lock them up, of course. They'll have to stand trial for murder.
I wish that wasn't necessary.
What do you mean?
Well, those men fought for their country.
They may even be suffering from battle fatigue. I'm sure that what they did tonight was unpremeditated. Brought on, perhaps.
That's no excuse, Mr. Latimer.
No, I suppose not. But I still can't help wishing it could be avoided. Well, I must go up and pay my last respects to my old friend, Frank Wheeler. Good night, gentlemen. Thank you for your expressions of sympathy.
Good night.
See you again, Mr. Latimer.
Yeah, he's sorry. That dirty hypocrite.
I hope you told the doctor not to let Latimer get too close to the governor.
Don't worry. The doctor understands.
Okay.
Besides, Wheeler's under an opiate.
Oh, good.
You couldn't tell from a quick glance that he's alive.
What did the doctor say about tomorrow?
He said tomorrow afternoon ought to be okay. The later, the better.
All right. I'll need some time to make arrangements. Suppose you meet me here at 5 in the afternoon.
I'll be here, but I still don't think you can put it over, Kent.
We've got to put it over. Unless we get Latimer by the heels, we'll see more bloodshed and riots and lynchings in this state. Meet me here to talk with the governor at 5 o'clock, Inspector. And keep your fingers crossed.
Now, Governor Wheeler, you understand what you're to do, don't you?
You want me to read this stuff you've written into this microphone?
That's right. It'll be transcribed on a record.
I see, but well, my voice is pretty weak today.
That'll be all the better. You'll sound more like a ghost. Ready, Inspector Henderson?
Ready. I tell you again, it'll never work, Kent. Latimer is too smart to fall for hocus pocus like this.
That's where you're wrong. Every criminal has fear in his heart, and the cleverer he is, the more fear he has of what he can't see, of the unknown.
Never mind the psychology lesson. Getting late, and we've got a lot to do before midnight. Let's get started.
Right. Ready, Governor Wheeler?
Ready.
Good. I give you the signal. Start talking. Turn it on, Inspector.
Check.
Okay, Governor. Give it all you've got.
George Latimer. Listen to me, George Latimer. You're surprised to hear my voice, aren't you? You thought you'd never hear...
Hello?
Is that you, Mr. Latimer?
Yeah, who's this?
Briggs, I hope you weren't asleep.
I was. What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. What's the matter?
Why, nothing. I guess...
Yes, I know. You're nervous, huh?
Well...
Sure you are. Nothing to be nervous about. Everything's fine, just fine.
I guess so,
Oh,
but...
stop worrying. Everything's fine, I tell you. Wheeler's dead, so he can't talk. The GIs are in pretty bad with the law.
Sure, I know, but it's just... Well, the papers are so full of the story, and you can't turn on the radio without hearing about it.
Naturally. Frank was governor. There'll be a lot of fuss for a day or two, then it'll die down. Forget it. I tell you, we haven't a thing to worry about.
I sure hope so, but every time I feel a little secure, I get to thinking about that reporter, Clark Kent.
What about him?
He's smart, Mr. Latimer. He figured out everything that happened up to, well, you know, this evening.
So what? He couldn't prove it, could he?
He almost did.
They don't pay off an almost. Now that Frank's gone, Kent will never prove anything. So relax, Briggs. There isn't a thing to worry about.
Well, if you're sure...
I'm telling you, go to bed. Everything's wonderful. Good night, Briggs.
Good night, Mr. Latimer.
Good evening, Inspector.
Superman. Hey, where did you come from?
Clark Kent told you I'd meet you here, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right, but this gave me a bit of a turn, seeing you drop out of nowhere like that.
Sorry if I startled you. Ah, see, you've got the little record player with you.
Yes, and the record. Now, how do you propose to work this shindig?
You see that tall apartment building facing the park?
Yeah.
Big George Latimer occupies the 2 upper floors on the park side, a duplex apartment. His bedroom is on the top floor. There's a small terrace on the lower floor with a lot of shrubs and potted trees. You'll be able to watch the fun from there and hear everything. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be for a crazy stunt like this.
Okay, up with you. You all set?
All set.
Up to that terrace. Up and away!
Leaping from the Metropolis Park with Inspector Henderson, Superman soars up to the swank apartment home. Then alights on the dark terrace below Big George Latimer's bedroom. We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, your day's fun starts even before breakfast if you can look forward to a bowl of Kellogg's Pep. Because Pep is so doggone terrific tasting, it's fun just to think about eating it. And then when you do dig into those crisp golden flakes of Pep, you enjoy the real thing, a regular fun feast. Yes, sir, I don't know anything even half as good as that catchy full wheat flavor. That strictly Pep flavor, meaning strictly super. And super is also the word for the prize you find in every Pep package. 3 different kinds of prizes, one or the other in every package you open. For instance, it might be a model fighting plane in colored cardboard, one of 7 great Pep model planes you can collect. Or maybe it'll be one of 24 new full-color bird pictures with a description on the reverse side so that you'll know these birds in the air. Or it could be one of 18 bright-colored comic buttons picturing a famous comic strip character to pin on your beanie cap or your jacket. So start collecting all 3 kinds of these slick Pep prizes. Today, ask Mom for a supply of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal.
On the small, dark terrace beneath Big George Latimer's apartment, Inspector Henderson watches as Superman prepares to slip quietly into Latimer's bedroom, carrying the small record player.
Wish me luck, Inspector.
You need plenty of it, Superman. I can't see Latimer falling for this.
You're going to be surprised, I hope. Well, here goes. Keep your ears open.
I will.
Up to his window. Up! There's Latimer in his bed, sleeping as if he didn't have a care in the world. Well, maybe this record will put the fear of the Lord into him. Better get set on his windowsill first. There. Now to set the record going. There.
George Latimer. Listen to me, George Latimer. You're surprised to hear my voice, aren't you?
Who's there?
You thought you'd never hear it again, didn't you?
Who's there?
You thought you got rid of me forever, didn't you, George?
Frank!
You thought when you killed me that you were safe, that no one would ever discover what you'd done.
Frank Wheeler!
You didn't
No,
believe
can't be.
dead men could come back to haunt you, did you, George?
But how?
If you'd believed that, perhaps you wouldn't have killed me.
But I...
And Lippy Williams, the Clarion reporter.
I'm dreaming. I must be dreaming.
You wanted to discredit the war veterans who wanted jobs.
No.
So you shot Joe Martin and said that Sam Robbins, a Jewish war hero, did it.
But
Isn't that so, George?
Yes, I did. Now go away, Frank, please.
Williams, the Clarion
Please go away.
reporter, plant your gun in Sam Robbins' home.
But I didn't mean...
And then because Lippy knew too much, you murdered him,
But
too. Didn't you,
Please,
George?
Frank, please.
Your black heart cried out for blood, so you persuaded me to send Sam Robbins upstate.
That isn't true.
Where you had arranged for other warp-minded bigots like
No.
yourself to lynch him.
That isn't true.
Didn't you, George? Didn't you?
Yes. I told you I did. What more can I say? Now let me alone now. Go away, please. Frank, go away. Please. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Well, Inspector Henderson, did you hear everything?
Everything, Superman. You sure put the fear of the Lord into this scoundrel.
And how? I'm about to switch the light on, Latimer, so get ready for a little surprise.
Superman. Inspector Henderson.
Right. Now keep your hands up, Latimer. You're under arrest.
Oh, I get it now. You tricked me.
Right the first time, and we did it with nothing but a little record player.
You can't get away with it.
Keep your hands up, I said. There are 2 witnesses to your confession, Superman and myself. That's enough to send you to the chair, Latimer. Now climb into your street clothes. We're going bye-bye.
This is your Daily Planet newscaster bringing you a special bulletin. Following the amazing confession of Big George Latimer today, which resulted in the freeing of Sam Robbins, hero of Iwo Jima, Frank C. Wheeler announced his resignation as governor. The newly organized
Hello. Hello.
Make up your mind. Are you Superman or Clark Kent?
What?
Hiya, Clark.
Oh, Batman. Hey, you gave me a start.
Sorry. Oh, congratulations on measuring Big George Latimer for the electric chairs. Fine work.
Thanks very much.
Now, with that off your mind, perhaps you can help me.
Help you? What do you mean, Batman?
I'm in trouble, Clark. Serious trouble.
You are? What?
I don't want to talk about it over the phone. Look, I know it's pretty late, and I feel badly about waking you like this, but
Well, I'm really worried. Could you manage to come over to my house right away?
Well, sure, no trouble at all, Batman. I'll be there in 2 seconds.
Thanks. I'll be waiting for you.
Where's Robin, Bruce?
Spending the evening with Jimmy Olsen.
Oh.
I arranged it that way so I could talk to you alone.
Why, what's up? You sound mysterious.
Clark, I want to warn you. Some of the things I'm going to tell you may sound a little peculiar.
Well, I've heard peculiar things before. Go ahead.
Well, all this concerns Robin, whose real name, as you know, is Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
His father and mother were known as the Flying Graysons, most famous team of high-wire aerialists in the business until they were killed.
Robin's parents were killed?
Yes, before an audience of almost 15,000 people.
How did it happen?
Well, I'll tell you the whole story. It won't take long. It was 5 years ago at a time when the circus had just rolled into town. I'd known the Graysons for quite some time, and being something of an amateur aerialist myself, I spent hours at the arena watching them work out. Robin, or Dick, was about 8 or 9 then. Yes, he's 14 now, that's right. Well, to get to the point, the circus opened on a Saturday night. I was in a box with Dick when his father and mother came on for their high-wire performance. Two brilliant spotlights followed them. As they reached the high platforms with the spotlights shimmering on their white satin suits, the applause died out. And the band started playing softly as they started toward one another across the steel wire. Step by step with nothing but empty space beneath them. Not a man, woman, or child in the audience moved. Then, bending on his knees, John Grayson swung his young wife behind and above him, where she landed gracefully on his shoulders. For a split second, he was unbalanced, and then he steadied himself. With his wife standing on his shoulders, he started walking along the wire. And that was when it happened. Suddenly, without warning, the wire snapped and broke in the middle. I heard a scream. I think it was Mrs. Grayson. The two ends of the wire were dangling in midair like long, thin snakes, and the white figures were plummeting down to the ground. 5 minutes later, Dick and I elbowed our way into the circus infirmary. His mother had died instantly, but his father was still alive. Grayson looked up at me and motioned me to kneel beside him. He reached out and took my hand.
Bruce.
Yes, John?
2 things, Bruce. Take care of Dick.
Of course, John, of course.
And something else.
Yes, John.
This.
Yes?
This was murder.
We'll return in a moment for more of Batman's tense, exciting story, so stand by.
Say, are you a 49er? I mean, have you started collecting the 49 different top-notch prizes from packages of Kellogg's Pep? Well, if not, hop to it, gang. You'll find a prize in every package of Pep, the Sunshine cereal. And there are 3 different kinds of prizes you may find there. For instance, you may find one of 18 different comic strip buttons, each picturing a favorite comic strip character. Or you may find a colored cardboard model of a fighting plane, one of 7 exciting plane models in the series. Or you may get a beautiful full-color bird picture from a series of 24, each with a description to help you identify these birds in the air. Now, that makes 49 different prizes you can collect. And that's without counting Pep itself as the best prize of all. Think of the good eating fun of those crisp whole wheat flakes, all crammed with keen, catchy flavor. I mean, Pep's delicious. A prize dish if ever there was one. Yes, sir, a dish of Pep is so strictly terrific that in double quick time, you've polished off every last bit in your bowl. So speak to Mom about it today. Ask her to get you a supply of Kellogg's Pep, and make sure you look for the prize inside the package.
Recalling the horrible experience of being an eyewitness to the tragic deaths of Dick Grayson's father and mother, Batman, telling the story to Clark Kent, reaches the point where John Grayson, with his last breath, whispered that it was murder.
It was all he said, Clark. This was murder. A moment or two later, his eyes closed. I felt his hand relax in mine, and it was all over.
Was Robin or Dick present during all this?
Yes, but don't get me started on that. There's still a lot to tell you.
I'm listening.
The first thing I investigated was the steel wire, and as I suspected, it had been partly sawed through.
Oh. Then it was murder.
Cold, calm, deliberate murder. Someone weakened that steel wire in a premeditated attempt to kill those two people and succeeded.
I take it you know who it was?
Yes, but I couldn't prove it. And I can't to this day. It was a man named Larson, George Larson.
Mm-hmm.
He was the circus ringmaster. Now, somehow he had found out that Mrs. Grayson was French, that she had relatives living in Paris, a sister and brother who were members of the French underground.
I see.
This was at the beginning of the war, and Larson threatened to see to it that the Nazi authorities made it unpleasant for her relatives unless he was paid off.
Uh-oh.
So, for 5 months, he blackmailed the Graysons until they had no more money. Then, in desperation, they decided to threaten him. They told him they were going to the district attorney and have him arrested for extortion and blackmail. The following night, the wire broke. They were dead.
Well, where did you get all this information? The business about the blackmail?
From a diary I found in John Grayson's dressing room and from conversations that Robin or Dick had overheard.
Oh, I see.
But that was all I could dig up. No other evidence, no other clues, no possible chance to pin the actual murders on Larson. However, with Robin's help and testimony, Larson was convicted of extortion and got a 10-year sentence.
Oh.
But when they led him out of the courtroom, he turned to Robin, pointed a finger at him, and said, "I'll get you for this."
I think I can finish the story, Bruce. Larson served 5 years of his term, was paroled, and is now threatening Robin.
No, not quite.
No?
About a week ago, Robin began to receive threatening letters. They were unsigned, but I happened to have some correspondence between George Larson and Robin's father, which wasn't used at the trial, so I compared the handwriting.
And?
Oh, I'm not an expert, but it was pretty evident that Larson had written the threatening letters. Then we began to get anonymous phone calls at all hours of the night. Same voice each time. I was certain it was Larson, but just to make sure, I recorded one of the calls on my dictograph and played it back for a number of circus people who had known Larson for years. They confirmed my opinion. It was Larson's voice.
Well, it all looks open and shut to me, Bruce. Thing to do is grab Larson, haul him up before the parole board, and get him slapped back into jail.
That's just the trouble, Clark. We can't grab Larson.
Why not?
Well, get a good grip on yourself.
Okay, shoot.
When all this started, the threatening letters, the anonymous phone calls, the first thing I did was contact Warden Hobbs at State Prison to find out when Larson had been released.
Uh-huh.
Well, do you know what he told me?
Oh, what?
That George Larson had died in jail 2 weeks ago.
What? Great Scott.
That's what frightens me, Clark. According to all the evidence, Robin is receiving letters and phone calls from a dead man.
What is the answer to this mystery? Frankly, at the moment, we don't know. But you can be sure it's going to take all the combined ability of Superman and Batman to solve it. And before they do, there's plenty of spine-tingling excitement in store for all of us. So be sure to keep listening as Superman and Batman, the two stalwart defenders of law and order, join forces to solve the mystery of the dead voice. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, for Episode 2 in this new and exciting adventure story.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, I know you know loads of famous names, so you're sure to know Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. But do you know that swell breakfast treat, Kellogg Shredded Wheat? It's delicious. You see, Kellogg picks out finest whole wheat, toasts it to natural nut-sweet goodness. Kellogg packs 15 tender plump biscuits in every package. And Kellogg sees to it that you get the grand nutrition of whole wheat in biscuits made to fit the bowl. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg Shredded Wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.